It all starts with a giant blue dragon throwing an absolute tantrum, wrecking an entire city like it is no big deal. The poor soldiers can only run for their lives while everything around them freezes over and blows up. In the middle of all the chaos, the fighters realize that the one behind this undead army is some guy named White Knight. The local guildmaster looks through his telescope, completely speechless at how insanely overpowered this top player is. He sighs, knowing the city is going down, completely floored that a single guy can cause this much damage. Meanwhile, the necromancer himself, White Knight, watches the whole thing from above with that classic villain smirk. Sitting on his throne, he commands his legion to push forward and steal even more power for him. But to him, this is still small potatoes, remembering that this second chance was a gift from a mysterious game. Even though he started with a single point of health and was on the brink of kicking the bucket, he managed to turn things around to get his revenge. To understand how this whole mess started, we have to go back a few months on planet Earth. Inside a hospital room, someone starts pulling the plug on a patient. The young guy in bed instantly recognizes that soft voice as his sweet fiancée, Liu Ruyan. He panics on the inside, wondering why on earth she is turning off his life support. After all, poor Su Mubai is still very much alive, and she is supposed to be his bride-to-be. But the fake girl just says with cold detachment that she is doing it for his own good, probably just so he does not find out she is two-timing him. Su Mubai remembers he used to be the #1 player in the world, sitting on a huge fortune before an accident left him like a vegetable. Suddenly, a guy kicks the door open, complaining about her taking so long to finish the job. Yep, definitely two-timing him. That guy is Zhao Shu, an old college buddy that Su Mubai used to treat like a real brother. The backstabber reminds her that with Mubai's parents out of the picture, she will be the sole heir to billions of dollars as soon as he croaks. To make matters worse, he drops the bomb that he planted the girl in Mubai's life years ago, and that the accident was their doing all along. With an evil grin, the fake friend gets ready to deliver the final blow and secure the cash once and for all. He rips Mubai's oxygen mask right off without a shred of mercy, sending the poor guy straight to the afterlife. But the drama queen fiancé asks to switch rooms, claiming that doing this in front of a near corpse is bad luck. The shady couple walks out laughing, leaving the guy gasping for air alone in the hospital bed. Mubai fumes, realizing he was played for a fool from day one, desperate to move a single muscle. He stares at the heart monitor as it starts flatlining, refusing to go out in such a pathetic way. But his hand loses all strength, and he slowly starts fading away, saying goodbye to life. Right then, fate steps in as a weird dimensional rift starts tearing through the sky. People on the streets completely lose their minds, thinking it is the start of an apocalyptic alien invasion. A massive gate swings open, and a message announces that Earth has been chosen for an ultimate survival game. The notification says everyone will start from square one in a new life, and mass transmigration kicks off in 30 seconds. Everyone gets the info beamed into their heads and starts cheering, realizing money is totally worthless now. Meanwhile, the cheating couple in bed realizes that the multi-billion-dollar fortune they just stole has turned into dust. The gold-digger bride scoffs, saying Mubai will not last a second, and that even if he survives, he will just be total trash. The system timer finally hits 0, signaling the start of the ultimate reset. The shady couple starts getting dissolved by a purple teleportation light, completely helpless to stop it. Back in the hospital, Mubai realizes this crazy survival game is his one and only shot to make a comeback. Out for blood, he makes up his mind that he is not going to let this golden opportunity slip through his fingers. He vows he will not bite the dust, and the purple glow of teleportation begins to wrap around his weak body. A sudden burst of purple light covers the whole city, sending everyone off to the new world. People on the streets can only watch in complete shock as the transmigration process kicks off. A few cowards lose it completely, crying and begging to run back home to their mothers. But others celebrate the fresh start from scratch, finally getting a real shot at life far away from that daily grind. What would you do in that situation? Mubai ends up landing in a mysterious floating temple known as the Hall of Descendants. He realizes he is not dreaming when he notices he can actually stand up and move his legs again. The system welcomes the player and prompts him to lock in his new username. He proudly types in the name White Knight, and the system kicks off the process to awaken his talent. The screen explains that every survivor gets a special ability right here in this waiting room. These abilities are split into ranks, going all the way from F rank to the legendary triple S rank. Mubai knows he needs an insanely overpowered talent if he wants to dominate this game and get back at those traitors. To absolutely nobody's surprise, Mubai unlocks an insanely broken S-rank skill called Ascension. This talent lets him upgrade any item or power completely for free, spending resources or even his own lifespan. Next, the system asks him to pick his class while several pillars of light start coming down from the sky. He checks out the basic picks like Warrior or Mage, trying to figure out which one pairs best with his broken talent. But the game throws a weird error, warning that his physical stats are so trash that almost every class is locked out. Talk about bad luck on top of good luck. In the end, the only option left for the poor guy is Necromancer, which leaves him pretty disappointed at first. Without a chance to complain, the system locks in the class automatically, making Mubai super annoyed that he did not get a choice. But once he gets his hands on a bone staff, he decides to embrace his fate, admitting that being a Necromancer actually has its perks. The real kicker comes when he opens his status window and realizes his maximum health cap is literally just 1 point. With only 1 health point, a single flick from a weak monster will send him straight to the Shadow Realm in the blink of an eye. Since there is no turning back, he decides to use all his pro-gamer intellect to stay alive. In that moment of desperation, he remembers the secret evolution skill he just unlocked. He decides to use his max evolution for free to bump up his Necromancer class by 3 tiers all at once. Without missing a beat, the guy hits the confirm button to see what his new class transformation will look like. The guy ends up awakening the hidden class Sovereign of Death, snagging bonus stats, and a mysterious book as a little bonus. The system alerts him that the game starts in 10 seconds, and he realizes he almost ran out of time while messing with upgrades. Staff in hand, he promises he will track down that cheating couple and make them pay for everything they did. The countdown hits 0, and the game warns that kicking the bucket costs levels and lifespan, though the starting village has safe zone protection. Humans finally start popping up in the starting village, with a bunch of people feeling lost and whining about having to grind. Mubai spawns into the Empire's village, thinking the place looks amazing and ready to level up, just like in the light novels he read back on Earth. While everyone else tries to squad up, he decides to go solo to test out his skills near the forest entrance. His very first basic skill lets him summon a tiny, super weak skeleton that serves as nothing more than a meat shield, or a bone shield, in this case. He begins casting the spell as a bright blue aura appears around him to start the summon. Checking out his status window, he sees he has 2 weak F-rank skills, a basic attack and a simple summon. However, he also has lifelink, which shares his health pool with the creatures he summons. To make things even better, he has an S-rank passive that boosts his summon limit and makes his monsters way stronger. With these insane powers combined, he realizes his early game is going to be infinitely easier than everyone else's. Out of nowhere, a floating book with a skull on the cover pops up right in front of him, glowing super bright. This is the Book of Death, a unique item made just for him that cannot be stolen, and it will unlock brand new spells at level 10. Since the book does not offer any stat boosts right now, he decides to ignore it for the moment and test out his skeletons. Upon using his summon, 2 creatures wrapped in blue flames burst out of the ground, ready to rip apart any enemy in sight. Mubai is caught off guard seeing 2 monsters spawn at the exact same time, triggering the special effect of his hidden class. He starts walking alongside his new bodyguards, thinking that even though there are 2 of them, they look pretty skinny. A bald warrior notices his summons and invites him to join his party, swearing they will level up in no time. But the MC politely turns down the offer, saying he prefers playing solo so he does not lose focus. Is this guy seriously trying to cosplay as Sung Jin-woo? The bald guy gets ticked off by the rejection and starts trash-talking, claiming summoners are weak and cannot kill a thing. Mubai ignores the noise and steps into the forest, watching tons of players getting their butts kicked by simple wild chickens. The level 1 killer chickens have 100 health points and attack newbies with super painful pecks. Other players notice his skeletons look way scarier and start suspecting he has a pretty stacked talent. He walks right past them, thinking it would be a total waste of time to hunt chickens with such a broken ability. The guy prefers heading deeper into the forest, looking for monsters that actually offer a decent challenge. It does not take long before 2 red-eyed creatures come charging right at him, ready to strike. They are level 2 wild rabbits, complete with a funny system, warning that they usually go for low blows. Kinda scary just thinking about it, right? The skeletons jump into action instantly, defending Mubai, who is thrilled he does not even have to get his hands dirty. Seeing that the fight is pretty even, he decides to summon a few more undead to push his power to the limit. He commands his little army to go all out and slice up those mutant rabbits as fast as possible. The skeletons strike without mercy, tearing through enemies with precise hits and painting the grass red. Victory comes fast, landing him some solid experience, and he gets ready to level up very soon. Mubai checks his health bar and grins, seeing that he is now protected by massive health shields. He decides 4 fighters are more than enough for now and pushes deeper into the woods to keep the grind going. While the poor rabbits are getting sliced up by the skeletons, the guy just watches the beatdown with his arms crossed. Other nearby players are green with envy, watching him level up just by taking a peaceful walk. After wiping out the mobs, Mubai finally hits level 1, earning a bunch of points to spend wherever he wants. He checks his stats and realizes he needs to dump points into agility to avoid getting one shot and spirit to boost his summons. Without wasting a second, he assigns his points, cranking up his speed and his pet's magic power. The real shock comes when his skills level up, unlocking a passive that splits his health pool with all his summons. This health split is an absolute lifesaver for someone with only 1 hit point, plus he can now summon up to 20 fighters. Now that he does not have to hide his broken power anymore, he decides to summon his full army to sweep the entire map. Taking advantage of his upgraded skills, he decides to use his unique talent to evolve his exclusive book. The Book of Death gets upgraded to the Sacred Book of Death, gaining bonus magic power and new effects, ready for level 10. Thinking the bonus is a bit weak, he decides to focus on starting his official hunt alongside his legion of blue skeletons. He orders his army to charge at anything that moves, including some pretty aggressive wild felines. Showing no mercy, the necromancer summons all 20 of his minions at once, covering the entire battlefield. Thanks to his passive skills, his cooldowns are almost non-existent, letting him build an army in the blink of an eye. The giant cats get taken down easily, and within minutes, Mubai hits level 2, netting even more stat points. Half an hour passes, and the guy keeps clearing out the whole forest at a leveling speed that is borderline ridiculous. He leads his army of bones, laughing out loud and commanding them to keep up the hunt without giving the forest monsters a break. Eventually, he arrives at the entrance of the game's very first official dungeon, known as the Foggy Forest. The system warns him about the dangers inside and asks if he wants to go solo, but Mubai just points to his army. The game prompts him to pick a difficulty level between normal and nightmare, while his minions wait for their master's command. Overflowing with confidence, he ignores the easy choices and selects hell mode without second-guessing himself for a second. The dungeon portal turns a creepy shade of red, confirming his entry into the hardest difficulty level of them all. The moment he steps inside with his minions, he is met with thick fog and a super hostile environment. Visibility is practically zero, which would leave any regular player terrified of walking into a nasty ambush. But the guy just sends his bone warriors ahead to scout the path and obliterate any threat in their way. Luckily, he can control his servants from a solid distance, keeping his farming tools from getting lost in the haze. Right off the bat, an elite monster, a level 8 giant tree, blocks the path with its razor-sharp branches. Mubai gets hyped up, glad to finally run into a mob that is actually worth something. The wooden monster tries to trap his summons with its roots, but the guy orders an immediate full-scale attack. One of the skeletons takes a direct hit from the giant tree, showing that the mobs here mean business. Even with the enemy's heavy hit, the necromancer simply tells his whole army to focus fire on the wooden creature. The elite tree gets chopped into tiny pieces, handing our protagonist an insane amount of experience. But the peace does not last long, as a giant black snake slithers up quietly behind him, ready to strike. Catching the ambush just in time, the guy reacts fast, dodging the surprise attack with impressive agility. The system reveals it is a level 8 elite boa, and Mubai jokes that he is going to make a nice snake barbecue out of it. His warriors start slashing at the giant reptile, dealing heavy damage and keeping the monster from getting anywhere near their master. The whole skeleton army piles onto the boa, attacking together with insane coordination. The giant snake cannot handle the pressure from the group and ends up sliced to pieces, granting the guy another sweet experience boost. He notices that his personal spells are still pretty weak compared to the raw, destructive force of his skeletons. To his delight, the defeated boa drops a level 5 leather belt with some solid physical defense boosts. Even though it is leather armor that he cannot wear himself, he decides to stash it to sell back in town later. He dusts himself off and tells his boys to keep exploring the dungeon to gather even more loot. Along the path, multiple elite snakes and giant trees surround the party, setting the scene for a total massacre. With a confident look, he calls for the harvest to begin, sending all his summons into action at once. The Bone Warriors start hacking away at the mutant trees, giving the elite monsters zero room to react. At the same time, other skeletons slice up the giant snakes, keeping them from using their constriction skills. The battle turns into a completely one-sided beatdown, with Mubai's servants totally running the show. Thanks to this mass cleanup, the guy finally reaches level 5, glowing with the energy of his rapid level-ups. Grinning from ear to ear, he celebrates how easy it is to level up while everyone else is struggling outside. He scoops up several rare pieces of gear and skill books, making up his mind to upgrade everything to make a fortune. Mubai looks at his level 5 status sheet and complains about his weak wooden staff, promising to score a better weapon real soon. Out of nowhere, his exclusive book starts glowing, signaling that it leveled up right along with its master. The upgraded book grants a massive stat boost and extra damage against undead mobs, which really gets the guy hyped up. Armed to the teeth, he summons his entire army of blue skeletons, gearing up to face the area's main boss. The party moves through the thick fog toward the monster's lair, eager to test the dungeon boss's true strength. Deep inside the cave, he finds a giant red level 8 snake flanked by 2 super pissed-off elite boas. The boss's status window reveals he is the Snake King, sporting a whopping 88,000 health points and insane attack power. Even though he thinks the monster's health bar is a bit absurd, Mubai decides to send his skeletons in without thinking twice. He gives the order to attack, and his horde of bone warriors charges at the giant monster in an intimidating rush. The giant snake reacts right away, launching lightning-fast, brutal strikes at our protagonist's horde. One of his skeletons gets pulverized in a single blow, leaving Mubai stunned by the monster's crazy damage output. But the shock wears off quickly, and he gets his composure back, knowing raw power means nothing against his strength in numbers. He points his staff and vows that the boss will never survive getting swarmed by dozens of monsters all at once. With a mental command, his creatures encircle the giant snake and start shredding its hide, giving it no room to catch a breath. The skeletons land heavy, critical hits, wiping out the elite bodyguards and scoring the guy a boatload of experience. With the bodyguards finally out of the picture, the necromancer commands his team to focus all their attacks on the main boss. The boss gets hit by a massive blast of blue fire right in the face, annoying the giant monster even more. The guy looks at his own hands, a bit let down, seeing that his personal magic damage is pretty weak compared to his skeletons. The battle keeps raging on, and the giant red serpent tries to crush the creatures with its massive body. The enraged monster starts swallowing the bone soldiers one by one, desperately trying to clear out the area around it. Mubai is caught off guard seeing his minions disappear, but he quickly uses his skill to summon fresh reinforcements to the field. The new skeletons spawn in with full force, landing heavy blows on the enemy's tail and tearing deep gashes in its armor. The young guy notices the snake is charging up some strange energy and gets ready for a super dangerous incoming attack. The boss spits a massive spitball of green poison straight at the guy, showing off some pretty high battle IQ. Seeing the attack flying his way, Mubai is shocked by the monster's nerve, trying to go after the master directly. But he just grins as it hits him, since his life-sharing passive makes that damage feel like a minor inconvenience. With the enemy completely exposed, the necromancer charges forward, leaping toward the monster with a burst of powerful magic ready in his hands. He and his army unleash a final combo of attacks, wiping out the giant serpent's health bar once and for all. The Snake King goes down in defeat, dropping an insane amount of experience and instantly bumping the guy up a level. He celebrates the easy victory and scores gold coins and rare crystals as a reward for being the first to solo a silver boss. The global server announcement of his achievement echoes through the starting village, leaving every other player floored and wondering who this White Knight guy is. Local fighters start guessing that the guy must have a legendary talent to pull off something that crazy all on his own. Meanwhile, most newbies are crying in frustration over barely being able to beat chickens, while this guy is already soloing elite bosses. Far away, a group of top-tier players led by a beautiful woman discusses whether they should try recruiting this new prodigy. The strongest fighter in the group proves his worth by taking down a wild boar in a single precise spear strike. But even he admits he would be no match for a silver-rank boss right now, confirming that White Knight is just built different. The party leader suspects the guy holds a double S-rank skill, considering their own top fighter has an S-rank skill and falls short. Her teammates agree and suggest taking a peaceful approach to convince the young necromancer to join their guild. With a confident smirk, the girl claims she will make the offer in person, swearing no guy can resist her charm. Completely oblivious to all this, Mubai gets spammed with hundreds of friend requests as his menu screen will not stop flashing. Having zero time to deal with clout chasers, the guy simply wipes out every single request in one go without blinking. He focuses on his main prize, the crystals that add 30 days to the user's lifespan when used. Thrilled, the guy realizes he can use his evolution talent to boost the quality of the stones before using them. He turns the basic crystals into medium-tier versions, securing almost 2 extra years of life and dodging an early grave. Right after, he checks out the rest of the dungeon rewards, finding weapons and spell books he cannot use directly. Among the useless gear, he spots a pretty neat poison ring and decides to use his power to evolve the accessory. The ring transforms into a gold-rank venomous ring, granting a big boost to magic power and adding passive poison damage to attacks. Thinking back on the tough fight, the guy realizes his skeletons need an upgrade if he wants to tackle harder dungeons. Using the gold coins he earned, he pulls up the upgrade menu and selects the option to enhance his basic summon technique. Even though he thinks the 5 gold coin price tag is super steep, he confirms the deal, knowing the investment will pay off. The system notifies him that the basic summon has been upgraded, unlocking stronger warriors and even skeletal archers. Super satisfied with the upgrade, the guy gets ready to test out his new combat toys right in the middle of the map. The new soldier's stats are ridiculously high, packing devastating physical attacks for his squad. Seeing that his army actually commands respect now, the guy commands his minions to keep exploring the dungeon. He proudly watches his elite summons sprint through the forest, ready to tear apart any enemy that crosses their path. The squad pulls up in front of some elite goblins, and the necromancer orders his archers to focus fire on a single target. The poor goblins get peppered by a hail of sharp arrows right to the face, having zero chance to defend themselves. Mubai scoops up the experience and realizes his farming speed is so fast that he needs even stronger monsters. Meanwhile, back in town, regular players are trying to build parties, demanding only high-ranked skill users for their hunts. Some pushy guy tries recruiting people for his guild, but the crowd starts calling him out, asking who he thinks he is. To shut everyone up, the pushy guy flexes his S-rank talent that grants massive experience boosts to party members. Seeing the broken skill, the crowd changes their tune instantly, begging on their knees to join the guy's squad. But their party gets cut short when a massive golden server announcement flashes across the sky, grabbing everyone's attention in town. The message was sent by a rich player, begging the legendary White Knight to accept her friend request. The newbies almost lose it, realizing someone dropped 10 whole gold coins just to send a private note over world chat. Mubai sees the message and laughs at the girl flexing her cash, deciding to finally accept the request to see what she wants. She offers him a fortune in gold and gear to join her squad, making the guy suspicious of all that wealth. He writes back right away, asking where all that cash is coming from and why he should trust a total stranger. To prove she is legit, she reveals she holds the unique talent God of Wealth, sitting at the absolute max SSS rank. This broken ability prints free gold out of nowhere every day and keeps her from losing items when she dies, leaving Mubai completely blown away. Even though he thinks her power is incredible, he knows playing in a group brings too many headaches and could expose his secrets. Looking out for his own safety, the guy politely turns down the multi-million-dollar offer, saying he still prefers going solo. The rich girl goes ballistic over the rejection, since no guy has ever dared to say no to her before. Her teammates try to calm her down, saying they can hunt on their own, though they know progress will be slow without top gear. But her anger vanishes quickly when a new ping from Mubai pops up, revealing he has a business proposal for her. He asks if she is interested in buying a bunch of high-tier gear and skill books he scooped up from the dungeon. Intrigued, she says she will buy out his whole stock on the spot, and the guy says he will send his location once he wraps things up. She celebrates with her squad, promising they will all have top-of-the-line gear soon to hunt down monsters even faster. Suddenly, a bronze-rank boar boss spawns right in front of them, scaring the party but also offering a sweet opportunity. The leader asks if their group's warrior can handle the beast solo, and he confidently guarantees he has it in the bag. They hand over all their health potions to the warrior and leave the party so he can claim the solo victory credit from the system. With everything set, the girl gives the command to attack, and the guy steps up with his sharp spear, ready to take down the boar. The warrior sprints at top speed, landing a heavy strike to try and finish the beast right at the start of the fight. He lands a solid critical hit that chops off almost 1,000 health points from the monster, getting the group super hyped. The guy keeps raining quick strikes on the giant boss, doing his best to dodge the heavy swings from the monster's club. The giant boar tries to crush the warrior with its weapon, but the guy dodges like a pro using his high speed. He realizes that while the bronze boss hits super hard, it is way too slow to connect a direct hit on him. Watching from a distance, the girl grins, knowing her teammate has tons of experience and that the solo win is pretty much guaranteed. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon, Mubai just finished shredding a silver-rank goblin boss, hitting level 6 with absolute ease. He complains about being tired from picking up so much loot off the floor, though he is laughing all the way to the bank. The guy checks out the drops, finding a bone shield book and a magic cape that drops monster aggression. He also finds a gold emblem with awesome stats that massively boost his mana points and spell critical damage. But right after equipping the item, he notices one of his bone warriors just lost almost all its health in an instant. Mubai gets freaked out, trying to figure out what happened as a creepy red aura starts covering the entire surrounding forest. Suddenly, a monstrous voice echoes through the trees, asking how mere bones dared to trespass on the king's sacred domain. The system alerts him that his skeletons triggered a hidden quest, locking the exit and making the Goblin King super pissed off. Unbothered by the danger, the necromancer walks toward the roar alongside his personal guard to see who the enemy is. A giant green monster wearing a crown leaps right in front of him, roaring in rage because someone crashed his private hunting grounds. The boss is the legendary Goblin King Regu, in a state of pure rage, packing over 300,000 health points and insane attack power. The guy starts breaking out in a cold sweat, realizing that taking down a giant gold monster of that size in under 2 minutes is going to be almost impossible. Mubai is not backing down from the boss's size and commands his summons to surround the enemy from all sides right away. His skeletons charge in, landing quick hits, while the big guy tries desperately to defend against the ambush. Extremely annoyed, the Goblin King raises his giant club, cursing the Bone Army with everything he has got. He slams his weapon onto the ground, unleashing a shockwave of red energy that sends several bone soldiers flying. The guy watches from a distance, impressed by the insane damage, knowing any normal player would have been wiped out on the spot. With a smile on his face, he decides he has played around enough and charges up a blue fire spell to wrap up the fight quickly. The green monster gets even angrier after getting hit from behind, complaining about taking a cheap shot from the necromancer. His warriors and archers unleash a devastating combo, chunking down an insane amount of the boss's health bar. The big guy swings his club wildly, trying to push back the warriors who keep coming at him without stopping. Mubai celebrates how the fight is going and roots for his army to keep targeting the middle of the monster's head. Seeing that he is about to lose, the boss opens a red-dimensional portal, summoning his elite warriors to join the fight. Several enraged goblin fighters step out of the portal with elite stats, ready to tear through the skeleton horde. Things start getting tricky as dozens of enemies pour out of the rift, creating a full-blown green army inside the cave. The guy starts breaking out in a cold sweat, realizing the boss can summon mobs too, and that they are all totally enraged. A massive brawl breaks out between the two armies, filling the battlefield with dust and shattered bones. The boss stares at Mubai with glowing red eyes full of pure hatred, asking why the guy will not just leave him alone in the forest. He leaps into the air, preparing a devastating slam to crush our protagonist and all his servants in one go. The impact from the monster's jump sends a massive shockwave cracking through the ground, kicking up a huge cloud of dust. Mubai feels the hit, but internally thanks his lucky stars that his health bar is shared across his dozens of summons. Without missing a beat, he summons fresh skeletons, telling them to focus on taking out the smaller goblins first to clear the floor. His warriors obey instantly, slashing through the elite goblins to keep them from disrupting the main fight. With a wave of his hand, he orders the archers to shoot pinpoint arrows to finish off the enemies trying to run from the beatdown. The boss's minions get taken down one by one, leaving only the big guy who is starting to accept his grim fate. The Goblin King refuses to accept his imminent loss, wide red eyes filled with terror as he roars in rage. He enters an even crazier frenzy, doubling his attack power at the cost of losing all his physical defense. Mubai just scoffs, calling the monster a trash-talking novice, and prepares his final blue fire spell to wipe him out. Right in the middle of casting, he sees a world alert that another party killed a bronze boss first, realizing he missed out on the record. But he decides to brush it off for now, knowing his reward for taking down a gold boss will be infinitely better. The skeleton army strikes in unison, landing fatal blows that drop the big guy's health to 0 in the blink of an eye. The monster's crown flies off, and the Goblin King hits the grass dead, putting a permanent end to his rage-filled rule over the forest. The system congratulates Mubai for being the first to solo a gold boss, handing him gold coins and 12 rare life crystals. But he ends up pretty confused when he realizes the giant monster's body did not drop a single piece of gold gear or armor. The guy walks over to the corpse, guessing the lack of regular loot has something to do with the dungeon's hidden quest. Back in the village, the S-rank warriors party celebrates their easy win, swearing up and down that the legendary White Knight just got lucky. The hyped-up rookies suggest going after a gold monster next, making their leader break into a nervous sweat. But their excitement dies instantly when the system announces that White Knight just soloed a gold-rank boss all by himself in the forest. The guild leader nearly passes out from shock, wondering what kind of insane power the guy has to pull that off. Far away, the rich girl's squad sees the announcement too, and their warrior admits in shock that White Knight's strength is totally out of this world. But the girl just smirks, remembering the game is still early, and that with her fortune, they will catch up to him in no time. Feeling motivated again, the warrior rests his spear on his shoulder and invites the group to explore the forest's first dungeon. Inside the cave, Mubai gets a creepy alert that because he defeated the boss so fast, the dungeon evolved to disaster difficulty. Suddenly, the dead body of the Goblin King starts turning into a glowing blue mist, swirling all around the guy. The necromancer watches the whole thing nervously, not getting what is happening and on guard for whatever crazy surprise the system throws next. The mist projects tragic visions of the monster's past, revealing he was enslaved by mages long ago before dying. The blue energy stream gathers in the air, reshaping the monster's silhouette into something way scarier and more powerful than before. A massive skeletal creature rises from the light, revealing itself as the new Skeleton King with almost 2 million health points. The system reveals he is one of ancient necromancy's finest creations, holding some insanely broken skills. The reborn monster curses his terrible luck of becoming undead once again, swearing to destroy the intruder. He raises his bone arm, summoning dozens of fresh undead warriors from the ground, ready to attack Mubai without an ounce of mercy. Brandishing a giant sword wrapped in blue flames, the massive creature gears up for the dungeon's real ultimate test. Mubai starts breaking out in a cold sweat looking at the skeletal monster's massive size, wondering how something like that could pop up in a beginner village. The massive skeleton king raises his giant sword, surging with blue lightning, ready to slice the guy to pieces without mercy. Making matters worse, the boss's summoned mobs get a 20% stat boost thanks to an evil aura. The necromancer realizes the strength of that small group of mobs is already rivaling the power of his 20 summons. The guy dodges the boss's attack in a panic, complaining about the insane damage and trying to figure out how to win the fight. The system warns that dying will cost him 10 years of life, which freaks Mubai out since he only has 6 years left to live. The giant monster unleashes a devastating electric strike, turning several of Mubai's skeletons to dust in a single sweep. The guy takes the shock from the lightning, getting thrown back hard and realizing things are getting crazy dangerous. With no time to waste, he commands all his remaining warriors and archers to focus every bit of attack power on the boss's head. Even after summoning fresh bone warriors, he realizes their power is not enough to break through the monster's massive defense. To turn the tables, Mubai decides to go all in, consuming his precious life crystals to trigger a forbidden spell evolution. He absorbs the stones all at once, gaining precious years of life while his body glows with mysterious soul power. The system confirms the absorption, and the guy spends 5 years of life to force his summon spell through a forbidden mutation. The skill levels up, boosting the physical damage and health points of his bone warriors by a ridiculous amount. Mubai lets out an evil laugh, summoning his giant new mutant warriors to show the boss who the real king is. His new mutant warriors go all out, dealing devastating damage to the boss's armor and shattering the monster's ribs. Under their master's command, the entire army presses forward, landing deep slashes and rapidly draining the enemy's massive health bar. The necromancer loves the beatdown, summoning even more mutant warriors and laughing that the more allies he has, the better. Cornered, the Skeleton King lets out an enraged roar, activating his max frenzy mode that doubles his attack at the cost of all his defense. The guy mocks the monster's dumb move to drop its own defense, ordering the horde to deliver the final blows without holding back. The colossal monster cannot hold up against the coordinated attack, falling to his knees on the cave floor as his energy starts fading away. With the boss down, the system congratulates Mubai on the win, handing over a boatload of experience and leveling him up. The guy scoops up gold coins and 40 giant life crystals, alongside the announcement that he was the first to solo the monster. Adding up the rewards, the guy celebrates upon realizing his lifespan jumped by over 13 years, saving him from an early grave. But he ends up pretty confused seeing the game log the dungeon as hell difficulty, even though he actually cleared disaster level. Meanwhile, at the dungeon entrance, the S-rank warrior keeps recruiting new members for his guild with tons of pride. A bunch of players start sucking up to the guy, begging for a spot in the party, and he accepts them all while laughing with a huge ego. But everyone's focus shifts immediately when the rich girl's squad shows up, every member decked out in fancy gold gear. The guild leader is stunned seeing the girl's squad flexing, wondering where all that wealth came from so fast. The group of newbies is green with envy, whispering about the crazy fortune that mysterious player must have in the game. The warrior greets the rich girl in a friendly way, and she replies politely, keeping her cool and superior vibe in front of everyone. The guy suggests a fun bet to see who can beat the dungeon challenge first, and she accepts the challenge with a laugh. He offers to bet the dungeon's first completion record, and the rich girl mockingly asks what the terms of their bet are going to be. He claims his strength and her money are a match made in heaven, demanding she join his guild if he wins the bet. She asks what she gets if her squad wins, and he promises his guild will do whatever favor she asks for in the future without complaining. With a sneaky smile, the rich girl holds up 3 fingers, demanding 3 favors instead of just 1 if she wins the challenge. The guy accepts the deal with a loud laugh, but his celebration gets cut short by a system announcement crowning White Knight for the win. Both guild leaders almost fall backward in total shock, seeing the dungeon record stolen right out from under them in seconds by someone else. The S-rank warrior turns bright red with anger, realizing his big, flashy bet just turned into an embarrassing joke in front of everybody. He tries to play off the embarrassment, suggesting they go hit hard mode instead, since first place on normal mode was already snatched. But the humiliation gets worse when new announcements reveal White Knight cleared Hell mode and Disaster mode all by himself in the foggy forest. Left with no direction, the pushy warrior and his squad walk into the dungeon portal under the mocking stares of all the newbies standing around. The rich girl decides to hold off for a bit, calmly saying that with the records already gone, there is zero rush to jump in there. In another village, a long-haired swordsman fights bravely against the local goblin king, showing off some high-level combat skills. He strikes the monster with a clean sword slash, cutting through the air and trying to finish off the beast with his sheer physical speed. Seeing White Knight's announcement, the swordsman complains in frustration, wondering what kind of broken ability that guy holds. Far away in the neighboring village, the traitor Zhao Shu and his bride Liu Ruyan watch the global alert, finding the player's name way too familiar. He asks with a laugh if Ruyan knows that player, but she does not find it funny at all, keeping a serious and deep look on her face. The traitor wraps his arms around her, bringing up the rich life she had with Mubai, while the bride mutters that the name White Knight brings back memories. Suddenly, her eyes go wide with fear as she remembers her late fiancé used that exact same username in every single game. Seeing the record announcement, Liu Ruyan almost passes out from shock, vividly recalling Sumubai's name. But her traitor fiancé brushes off the idea right away, saying the guy is already dead and that the name must just be a crazy coincidence. With a fake smile, Zhao Shu suggests that if it really is him, she just needs to use her usual charm to play the fool all over again. The villainess strikes a confident pose, agreeing that with her looks and seduction skills, no man could ever resist her game. Meanwhile, Mubai celebrates the insane rewards from the disaster-level dungeon, including a rare S-rank skill book. Without missing a beat, he pulls up his inventory menu to check out the stats of his brand-new legendary spell. The new skill is called Death Siphon, used to drain spiritual energy from corpses and store it right in his status panel. On top of storing it, he can use that energy to refill his entire mana pool in one go, fixing any energy shortage issues completely. The guy uses his unique evolution power to upgrade the spell for free, turning the skill into a double S rank passive. With his new power unlocked, the necromancer smirks and decides to test out the skill on the dead body of the goblin king he defeated. Casting the spell, he drains a massive stream of energy from the giant boss's corpse, wrapping his own body in a purple aura. Mubai is surprised by the result, realizing that dead elite monsters generate way more spiritual energy than regular mobs. He also equips the epic rank Cloak of Whispering Death, which boosts his magic stats by a ridiculous amount. Out of nowhere, he hears a weird noise coming from the deep end of the dungeon, putting him on high alert for any new danger. The guy starts digging through the boss's remains, searching for more valuable loot to stash and sell off to the rich girl. His eyes go wide with pure greed as he realizes the amount of loot dropped by the boss blew past all his expectations. The cave floor ends up covered in gold coins, rare gold rank gear, and even a giant sword made of black bone. He also finds several rare skill books from the boss himself, totally clearing out every single technique the Goblin King had. The system alerts him that he can fuse the 3 basic summon books he earned to create a much stronger creature. Without thinking twice, he hits fusion, unlocking the new skill to summon an advanced bone warrior packing serious destructive force. He uses his free evolution to bump the technique up to B rank, making his future soldiers even sturdier. Even though the mana cost for the new spell is pretty steep, he locks his eyes on a glowing blue orb dropped by the dungeon boss. The system alerts him that by accepting the item, he will start an insanely hard epic-level quest called Hale's Legacy. Always ambitious, the necromancer decides to use his evolution power on the sacred orb, triggering an even nastier legendary rank quest. He accepts the legendary challenge, which demands he hit level 30 in 30 days, or else he loses the valuable orb forever. Mubai grins at the results. Seeing the legendary orb grants crazy mana bonuses and almost a 50% critical hit chance. Holding his new mystic weapon, he celebrates his legendary score, admitting the dungeon paid off way more than he ever imagined. With all the loot neatly organized, the guy gets ready to step out of the cave and meet up with the rich girl to talk business. Outside, the rich girl's squad is still waiting patiently, watching other players walk into the dungeon. Suddenly, the portal flashes, and Mubai pops up right in the middle of the camp, grabbing the attention of the impatient squad. The guy walks over, making a joke and asking if they were just standing around waiting to hand him even more gold coins. The rich girl asks eagerly if he brought the high-value goods, suggesting they move somewhere else to make the trade safely. Mubai says that is not necessary and summons 2 giant skeletons to shove through the crowd of onlookers and clear out some space. The whole squad stands there jaw-dropped at the guy's sheer power, suspecting the necromancer holds a max-tier SSS skill. He mockingly asks if she actually has enough cash to buy all the elite goods he brought in his bag. With her confirmation, Mubai dumps a mountain of gear and rare books onto the grass, terrifying everyone standing around. The guild fighters check out the items in complete shock, while the girl asks him to set a fair price, promising she will buy the whole pile. The guy names his price for the weapons and skill books, and the rich girl accepts the cost without hesitating, counting out the coins. She hands over a heavy bag filled with gold coins to the guy, wrapping up the successful first round of their trade. The girl smirks, asking if now is the time for him to show off the truly high-value gear he kept hidden. Mubai unzips a fresh bag, showing off several gold-rank items that leave the girl's teammates completely speechless. Seeing their stunned faces, the guy jokes that their wallet cannot handle it, but agrees to sell on credit by signing a magic trade contract. She happily agrees, and Mubai lets her know that a rare priest resurrection book will cost 500 gold coins. The book is revealed to be the legendary resurrection spell, allowing allies to be brought back to life with reduced death penalties. The party's priestess almost passes out from pure joy, seeing she will finally get her hands on the most critical spell for her class. Without wasting a second, the rich girl seals the deal with a handshake, promising to pay off the rest of the gold tomorrow. The necromancer accepts the offer, keeping in mind that her unique talent prints hundreds of gold coins every single day for free. He knows full well that her confidence in paying off the debt tomorrow comes straight from her infinite money-printing power. The girl says goodbye, but before leaving, asks if he is down to make a new deal to secure the record for another secret dungeon. But the guy sets a strict condition, demanding every single life crystal she won, and whichever ones she has sitting in her inventory. Wealthy World happily signs off on the deal, saying goodbye to her guild partner with all the friendliness in the world. Meanwhile, our main guy, Su Mubai, lies down comfortably on the green grass, watching his experience bonus climb higher and higher. To him, losing a single point of health makes zero difference, since his leveling progress stays completely smooth and crazy fast. The system congratulates the guy for reaching level 9, and he decides to spend his points while wondering where the appraiser vanished to. Su Mubai walks through the forest, grumbling that the guy should be at his shop instead of drawing landscapes out in the middle of nowhere. Out of the blue, a scary alert pops up warning that his skeletal champion got obliterated in one hit, leaving him totally confused. He stands there stunned, seeing a mob with almost 150,000 health vanish instantly, guessing the appraiser is the culprit. Still confused, he keeps searching across the field, complaining that he walked so far and has not run into a single living soul yet. Making matters worse, another one of his skeleton warriors gets taken out in a single hit by the mysterious enemy roaming the area. Su Mubai realizes the opponent's power is insane, wishing he saved a bit more of his own lifespan for this trip. Suddenly, a mysterious voice pops up right behind him, complimenting his ability to summon so many piles of bones all at once. the mysterious guy introduces himself as Huaijian, the official appraiser and painter of the beginner village, moving at a speed that is downright terrifying. The old guy complains that the dozens of skeletons ruined his drawing vibe, demanding solid cash as payback. Huaijian rejects the offer of regular coins right away with a smug face, asking if he really looks like someone who needs handouts. The painter then tosses one of his art pieces over, telling the kid he has to pay him 100 gold coins to keep that valuable painting. Unrolling the scroll, Su Mubai almost cries from disappointment, seeing a hideous drawing that even a 3-year-old could draw way better. Feeling the old man's killer gaze and dark aura, the MC quickly changes the subject, saying he needs to wash his hands before appreciating the masterpiece. Pleased with the sucking up, Huaijian decides to offer some charity, offering to appraise the kid's gear completely for free. Huaijian starts casting his magic to reveal the potential of the guy's 4 items, even though he feels like he is losing out on the deal. He starts the appraisal, and the system quickly reveals the stats for the shadow boots, which turn out to be a solid, dark gold rank item. Next, the stats for the heavy bone armor get broken down, showing awesome physical and magic defense boosts for the user. The great bone sword and the dead man's necklace also get their insane stats revealed, flexing the absurd power of that gear. The old man says goodbye, telling the kid he got an amazing deal, and warns him to never ruin his drawings with those piles of bones ever again. Seeing the kid try to stop him, Huaijian turns around annoyed, worried he will have to work for free a second time. Su Mubai pulls out an epic rank red cloak, but the appraiser admits his skill level is way too low to identify the item. The MC stands there totally stunned and shocked, finding out the village's legendary appraiser cannot even decode the cloak. Huaijian defends himself, saying he is just a part-time worker in the beginner village and that there is nothing wrong with having limits. To make up for it, the old man offers to teach the appraisal skill to the young guy, who loves the idea of never paying for that service again. But since nothing in life comes free, the guy quickly warns that he will have to pay a pretty steep tuition fee. Huaijian flashes a greedy grin, holding up 5 fingers, leaving the guy tense about the chance of it being an absurd price. The price tag ends up being 500 ancient gold coins, which are super rare items that coin collectors value like crazy. Su Mubai grins confidently, remembering he can use his Ascension Evolution talent to turn normal coins into ancient gold ones. The system alerts him that the hidden quest was accepted, and the old man sings as he leaves, telling him to check back only when he has every single coin. Huaijian turns around laughing, thinking the kid could never pull off such a tough task at his current level. But to the old man's total shock, the MC calls him back, showing off a bag overflowing with the exact relics requested. The old man goes into total shock, seeing that massive pile of ancient coins he wanted so badly to get his hands on. With a winning, smug smile, the young guy asks if he can finally learn that highly wanted appraisal spell now. Impressed by the kid's speed, the old man lets out a genuine laugh, handing over the basic appraisal skill book to him. Huaijian heads off, but leaves behind another hidden quest for the kid to collect 10,000 ancient coins in exchange for a mysterious reward. The MC finds the old man super interesting, getting pretty hyped about the promise of receiving another big surprise down the line. Knowing the basic tier is not going to cut it, Su Mubai uses his evolution talent to upgrade the book to the intermediate appraisal skill. A beam of light hits the guy's head, signaling that he learned the advanced technique, packed with a 10% chance for epic items. Bursting with confidence in his new side job, he holds the red cloak, ready to finally unlock its secrets. But the first attempt flops completely, and the kid starts wondering if his luck in this game is really that trash. Determined not to throw in the towel, he keeps trying over and over while the system throws cold water on him with failure alerts one after another. Completely drained and out of energy, the kid gives up for now, crashing onto the grass and cursing his epic streak of bad luck. However, fate decides to give him a hand when a system alert pops up, announcing a wild treasure chest just spawned nearby. He spots the light beam shining far off on the mountain, deciding to check out the spot, knowing chests guarded by mobs pack sweet rewards. Reaching the top of the hill, he spots the valuable silver chest surrounded by several vicious wolves guarding the loot with sharp teeth. He flashes a greedy grin, looking at the awesome prize up close, knowing this is the perfect chance to get even richer in the game. With no time to waste, our MC summons his skeleton warriors, letting them know it is time to get down to business. The summoned mobs strike the wolf pack with crazy destructive hits, dealing a ridiculous amount of damage to the creatures. The mighty Wolf King lets out a furious howl to the sky, trying to intimidate the intruder and call in backup to defend his turf. Facing a massive horde of hungry beasts surrounding the group, Su Mubai mocks the situation, seeing the mobs decided to go all out. Unbothered, he just smirks with disgust, summoning even more skeletons to show who really runs the biggest army in this forest. The Bone Warriors charge in, launching the wolves into the air like they were stuffed toys with zero resistance. The pack's big boss tries to fight back, but ends up brutally torn apart by the sharp, ruthless claws of Su Mubai's summons. The terrifying giant wolf gets knocked out cold, dropping to the floor totally beaten by our broken necromancer's overwhelming army. With the boss down, the guy brags that the monster dropped way too fast before he could even finish summoning all his minions. Besides scooping up awesome items, Su Mubai hits level 10, locking himself in as the absolute first player in the entire Earth region to hit that mark. With the wild treasure chest sitting right in front of him, he flashes a sneaky grin, wondering if his evolution talent would work here too. He triggers his ascension skill, and the silver chest glows super bright, successfully ranking up to the gold tier. The system confirms a gold tier chest was unlocked, and the MC commands it to open immediately, not hiding his massive greed. To his surprise, the chest hands over only 2 valuable items, a powerful wooden staff and a mysterious treasure map. The guy gets hyped discovering the gold map, but the system quickly alerts him that the treasure location sits way far away from the starting village. A notification warns he hit the beginner village level cap and needs to talk to the chief to teleport over to the next city. He decides to track down the village leader, taking the chance to evolve the map to dark gold rank, finding out the treasure waits for him in the distant city of Jingli. Meanwhile, on another part of the map, the arrogant leader of the Hegemony Guild steps out of a portal victorious after clearing a big challenge. The system announces loudly that Hongtu's guild scored the first clear for the Foggy Forest dungeon on hard difficulty, making the crowd go wild. Thinking he is the big boss, Hongtu tells everyone to gear up for nightmare mode, but a fresh server alert abruptly cuts off his moment of glory. He stands there totally speechless, seeing that the party led by Wealthy World beat him to it, clearing nightmare mode first. The warrior runs over to demand answers from his rival, who just lets out a mocking giggle, saying it was all pure luck. That is when a teammate whispers in Hongtu's ear, revealing that White Knight was the culprit, selling broken gear exclusively to her. Consumed by anger over getting played, the leader vows he will make the MC pay big time for taking her side over his. Brushing off her rival's whining, Wealthy World commands her elite party to catch a breather before taking on the terrifying Hell mode. Suddenly, another massive system alert catches every player in the region off guard, leaving the rival duo wide-eyed. The message reveals that the player White Knight reached level 10 ahead of everyone else, forcing the early unlock of the beginner village leaderboard. The rankings show up, putting the MC at the absolute top, sitting alone while other players are still crawling at level 5. Hongtu grinds his teeth out of pure envy and rage, warning the hero in his head not to get cocky because his revenge will not take long. Meanwhile, Wealthy World's teammates are blown away by the kid's leveling speed, comparing his pace to a rocket. The billionaire decides she needs to send over the soul stones right away to keep a super friendly bond with such a powerful player. She tells her party members to do their own thing while she gets ready to head back to the village and meet the hero in person. Wealthy World catches up with Su Mubai right in the middle of the village street, greeting him cheerfully and showing her full interest in closing more deals. The girl hands over the bag holding the 10 soul stones earned from the challenge, asking him to keep her in mind whenever he scores fresh, high-quality gear. With the contract officially wrapped up, the two shake hands, locking in a super profitable alliance built on tons of cash and top-tier gear. The young girl grins happily, realizing she managed to grab the attention and trust of the strongest player on the server at that moment. As the hero says goodbye, she feels dead certain that investing in this friendship was the best strategic move she made in the game. Su-Mubai walks casually through the busy streets of the beginner village, checking out the bustle of other players trying to level up. He finally stops in front of a modest wooden house, knowing that is the right spot to find the village's highest authority. The village chief checks out the young guy up close, admitting he never expected an adventurer to reach level 10 at such an unbelievable speed. Getting straight to the point, the MC looks the old leader in the eye, declaring firmly that he is ready to leave the beginner village for good. The elder accepts the request, philosophizing that this mysterious land will belong to adventurers sooner or later, telling the young man to follow him. He triggers a magic teleportation gate, telling the hero to step inside, explaining their village connects directly to the Great Eastern Sea City. The destination is revealed as one of the Empire's 10 main Tier 1 cities, sitting as the most prosperous and bustling coastal hub on the entire map. As the guy starts fading into the blue beam of light, the old man warns that his real journey kicks off the moment he sets foot in the new city. After the MC takes off, the elder turns around slowly, letting out a long sigh that shows deep worry for what lies ahead. He mourns silently, thinking chaotic times are coming to these lands, wondering how many people will end up losing their lives this time around. Meanwhile, in another area, the cheating duo Zhao Shu and Liu Ruyan spot the global record alert, their hair standing on end, seeing the name at the top. The guy asks if that mysterious hero could be the fiancé they left in a vegetative state at the hospital, but the villainess pretends not to care. Liu Ruyan flashes a smug grin, swearing that if he really is that strong, she will find a way to charm him right into the palm of her hand. Our MC Su-Mubai finally steps into the stunning Eastern Sea City, left mouth open by the mind-blowing realism of the brand new setting. He walks through the busy streets, grumbling that the game could have given him at least some decent reward for finally getting out of the starter village. Suddenly, the tome of death starts floating in the air, glowing bright as it levels up alongside him, hitting the impressive level 10 mark. The class-exclusive book hands over absurd stat boosts and doubles the damage dealt by every single undead creature summoned by our necromancer. Reading about the passive that drains souls and doubles the death penalty for enemies, Su-Mubai flashes an evil grin, loving the awesome new effect. A powerful golden energy wraps around the guy as he learns the skill Gaze of Death, which promises to be one of his most destructive weapons yet. He feels a terrible chill run down his spine, realizing the spell deals continuous true damage and drastically cuts the stats of anyone who dares look at him. The young guy reads the description with wide eyes, concluding this technique is so broken it basically acts like an instant death stare. Out of nowhere, a powerful man with gray hair appears floating right behind his back, commenting that the kid has great luck and terrible luck all at once. The imposing man is Situ Ji, the city sovereign and elder of the Divine Dragon Temple, sitting at a level so ridiculously high that the hero cannot even read it. Su-Mubai greets the noble lord respectfully, while the old leader checks out the dark energy, confirming it is indeed the legendary power of death. The lord reveals he knows about the young guy's hidden sovereign class, leaving the MC totally shocked that his secret was read so easily. The elder hands over a mysterious medallion, offering an epic rank quest to test the guy's power in exchange for valuable info about his hidden class. Su-Mubai accepts the task without second-guessing it, since there is no penalty for failing, but a purple energy portal pops up suddenly, startling the kid. The medallion starts buzzing with a 5-minute countdown, leaving the guy panicking over not having time to equip his precious gems. He sprints across the plain, yelling for help in a desperate attempt to find the teleportation circle to the land of the forgotten. Teleporting over, he finds himself in a barren, desolate desert, discovering he will have only 72 hours to explore the whole mysterious location. Feeling super unsafe in that hostile environment, the MC decides to summon his skeletal minions right away to secure his safety. He summons the new skeleton mages packing fireball powers, getting super hyped upon realizing his firepower is way more destructive now. Out of nowhere, the ground starts violently shaking, and Su-Mubai yells in shock, seeing a massive horde of skeletons bursting from the sand dunes around him. An endless stream of level 20 undead surrounds the guy, who stands there impressed by the crazy amount of opponents he has to fight all at once. Skipping the small talk, he orders a full-scale assault from his troops, racking up experience points with every confirmed enemy kill in the fight. Even though he finds the individual experience per mob pretty low, the hero finds comfort knowing the absurd number of targets will make up for it in the end. Facing so many easy targets, the MC decides this is the perfect opportunity to test out the power of his brand new destructive skill. The guy triggers Gaze of Death, and his eyes shine with an overwhelming yellow energy that deals massive damage, wiping out the mobs instantly. Happy after taking down his opponents in a single hit, the hero notices those desert creatures actually had souls trapped inside their bodies. Flexing full confidence, the kid claps his hands with a smile, planning to refill his whole mana bar by absorbing the energy from those fallen souls. But his expression flips to pure confusion upon opening his spellbook, noticing his soul points are still sitting at 0 even after the harvest. A mysterious voice echoes through the area, explaining that the souls in this region were locked away by an ancient curse, scaring the MC instantly. The spirit of a soldier named Road pops up floating, revealing the hero will need to break the dark seal if he wants to absorb the spiritual energy here. Sumubai scratches his head, bored, asking how exactly he is supposed to go about breaking this annoying curse that is messing with his progress. The Phantom Soldier points toward the horizon, where a massive dome of green energy glows intimidatingly in the middle of the barren desert. Getting closer, they spot a massive coffin tied down by heavy chains, guarded by several skeleton sentries roaming around the dark structure. The guy gets pretty intrigued, noticing even his own summons are shaking in fear from the energy coming off that mysterious coffin. The Phantom begs desperately for him to destroy the structure, but the system warns that doing so will unleash a super dangerous and powerful entity. Loving the thrill, the MC points at the target and commands his dozens of minions to start bashing the coffin with everything they have got. A flood of spells and physical strikes blast against the reinforced wood, snapping the chains and shaking the ground from the impact of the attacks. With the coffin shattered, the soldier's spirit panics completely, screaming that the terrifying monster is finally breaking free from its eternal prison. Emerging from the wreckage is the scary Neil, a powerful level 20 boss who failed his transformation and ended up a terrifying ice semi-lich. The giant monster floats in rage, blaming the hero for ruining his transition ritual, while the cowardly Phantom runs away yelling for everyone to bolt. The villain warns he will drain the guy's energy to complete his evolution, but Sumubai just scoffs, asking who gave the creature so much confidence. Skipping the speeches, the necromancer holds out his hand, commanding his whole elite squad to move in with full force against the enemy boss. Neil uses his heavy chains to defend, blocking most of the explosive strikes thrown at him, showing off some great agility. The hero notices the monster's defense is insane, with only a few hits from his strongest warriors actually managing to scratch the creature. The semi-lich swings his massive flail violently, crushing several skeleton warriors and proving he is no easy walk in the park. He triggers an unbreakable ice shield, demanding to know the identity of the intruder who can summon so many ridiculously strong dark creatures. To balance the fight, the boss summons his own monstrous servants, bringing giant level 20 abominations onto the battlefield. Seeing the massive monsters pop up reeking of a horrible stench, Sumubai pinches his nose, complaining about the smelly ghoul ruining the fight's vibe. Sick of the nonsense, the young guy decides to wrap up the fun, readying his eyes to use his new destructive power against the giant boss. Activating Gaze of Death, the boss Neil's stats plummet by 40%, leaving the villain in complete shock while taking huge damage. Sumubai thinks for a second, wondering if his superior health level was granted by his awesome Sovereign of Death class. Meanwhile, the powerful boss Neil drops to his knees with his health bar in the red, unable to believe he got beat so easily. The hero does not waste a second, ordering his skeleton squad to finish off the rest of those weak carrion monsters once and for all. Carrying a ruler-like, fearless look, the young guy watches from the sidelines as his dozens of summons completely sweep the villain's goons from the area. The boss, Neil, takes heavy hit after hit, screaming in pure desperation before turning into dust, forgotten forever in that desert. After the big win, the guy scores an insane amount of experience, and the system alerts him that he just leveled straight up to 12. Sumubai flashes a subtle smirk, super happy about clearing the fight so fast and pocketing 2 free levels on top of it. Digging through the villain's remains, he finds a glowing dark gold rank drop called the Cursed Crown Fragment. He checks out the item, discovering he will need to collect 7 matching parts to rebuild the legendary artifact packed with death energy. Even though he thinks the boss was kind of cheap for dropping only 1 piece, he decides to keep the relic, knowing the final prize will be an epic item. Rhodes' spirit pops up again, eyes shining with emotion, praising the hero and begging for them to go save the next lost soul right away. The Phantom floats ahead, showing the path forward, warning that the next challenge on the journey will be noticeably trickier. Suspicious of the guide's over-the-top excitement, the hero warns him straight up that if things get too risky, he is turning around without a second thought. The little spirit lets out a friendly laugh, trying to calm the kid down, swearing he has 0 reasons to worry about a thing. Rhodes then hands over a valuable scroll as a gift, and the guy asks annoyed why the Phantom did not give him that useful skill before the last fight. The book teaches the famous corpse explosion, and the MC goes crazy with joy, planning to use his Ascension talent to boost the technique. The upgrade turns into a massive success, bumping the skill up to B rank, drastically increasing the blast radius and damage dealt. To test out the new toy, the necromancer locks his aim onto a dead body on the ground, triggering the detonation command with a dark look. A massive blast of red energy and smoke wipes out everything around, sweeping the enemies off the screen in a fraction of a second. Sumubai bursts out laughing, watching monster parts rain down everywhere, blown away by the spell's huge range and sheer power. The spirit guide stands there, shocked, declaring the hero is the strongest man he has ever seen, while the young guy celebrates that he will now level up super fast. An hour of hunting goes by, and the MC's party, flanked by his new skeleton knights, runs into Walter, another boss in that region. Sumubai flashes a sarcastic grin, realizing that with this new target, he will finally complete the 7 pieces for the legendary crown. Walter tries to charge in with rage, but the necromancer simply holds out his hand with cold detachment, blowing up a corpse right next to the big guy with a snap of his fingers. The boss gets swallowed by a fiery storm, screaming in agony, swearing the intruder will pay big time for daring to challenge the Forgotten. The monster gets completely obliterated, dropping the final glowing fragment right at our clever MC's feet. Desperate, Rhodes the Phantom starts yelling, begging the guy not to fuse those cursed parts together, risking getting his soul corrupted. Ignoring the guide's crazy warnings completely, Sumubai starts fusing the fragments under a bright golden light that lights up the whole desert. The system congratulates the hero on getting the legendary rank Cursed Crown, while the spirit keeps whining in fear right beside him. The Phantom shakes the MC to get him to toss the item, but the system alerts him that the death energy hit max capacity and will not affect the guy. Suddenly, a violent quake shakes the sand dunes, and the young guy orders his knights into a defensive stance to hold off the new threat. A scary dark rift opens right in the middle of the dry ground, unleashing a cloud of purple smoke and lost souls into the air. Rhodes' spirit turns pale, eyes wide with horror, as he recognizes the overwhelming presence waking up right there. A fancy metal coffin rises from the crater, revealing the waking of Franklin, the scary lich who cast the terrible curse over that whole land. The Phantom begs the hero for help, revealing he was the city's old mayor, handing over a 20% boost to the guy's stats. Accepting the secret quest, the hero gets possessed by Rhodes' spirit, feeling his mental power jump up big time for the fight. The terrifying Franklin pops up looking like a level 20 epic boss, who even in a weakened state still packs a massive 15 million health. Wrapped in lightning and smoke, the monster floats up, surprised to see the mayor survived, also feeling his crown's energy restored. The giant skeleton holds out his bony hand, commanding with full authority for his precious crown to return to its master right now. But the artifact does not budge, and the hero mocks the villain, saying an item that now belongs to him would never take orders from anyone else. Sumubai puts the legendary helmet on his head under a dark aura, daring the monster to see if the golden accessory matches his look. The villain summons his powerful Shadow Knights to the fight, but the hero simply tells his own skeleton army to push forward without fear. The two undead armies clash hard in the desert, trading sword swings and explosive spells all over the arena floor. Taking advantage of the wild fight, the MC raises his golden staff, triggering the Cursed Crown's powerful slow aura. The energy spreads out, dropping the enemy's speed by 30%, and the guy jokes that the monsters will now crawl like snails. Franklin grinds his teeth in rage, seeing his elite troops get weakened so easily by the young necromancer's crowd control magic. Now sitting at level 15 with stats doubled thanks to his new legendary gear, the MC only regrets not being able to evolve the crown. The Lich swoops through the air with his giant scythe, yelling that the human is seeking death, but Sumubai promises he will give zero room for a counterattack. Carrying a super-sharp, focused gaze, the guy gets ready to land his most destructive hit on the powerful flying monster. He triggers Gaze of Death right on the boss, applying a nasty curse of agony that drains Franklin's health second by second with true damage. Under the brutal effect of the nasty curse, the powerful semi-lich Franklin starts screaming in agony, unable to accept that he is losing. In total shock and feeling his strength drain away, the creature desperately asks what kind of monster the MC actually is. Carrying a dark, mockingly cold look, Sumubai simply replies that his name is not something a mob on the verge of dying needs to know. Furious over the huge humiliation, the villain lets out a deafening roar, cursing the hero for daring to disrespect the status of a great lich. Raising his dark staff, Franklin vows solemnly that he does not care about the young guy's identity, and that he will bury him alive right here in this desert. The villain casts a massive tornado of blue magic that sweeps the arena with harsh winds, forcing the MC to shield himself from the attack's impact. Franklin keeps channeling his powerful magic storm, commanding the desert forces to destroy the cocky human and steal his power. With one last command, he summons a super-thick purple fog, getting ready to bring his strongest creature onto the battlefield. The massive bone dragon Kakus drops from the sky, roaring with its insane 20 million health points of pure mass destruction. Sumubai is surprised to see the giant dragon, but quickly remembers that this is an epic rank quest given by the city sovereign himself. The scary dragon shoots a devastating blast of blue fire straight at the guy, who watches the hit coming without showing a hint of panic. Without flinching, the MC commands his giant skeleton to use all its defense power to block the flying beast's breath attack. Franklin stands there, jaw dropped, seeing a simple, regular skeleton manage to hold off his legendary dragon's devastating hit without taking a scratch. What the villain does not know is that Sumubai spent all his stacked death energy to buff his Bone Warrior's stats by a crazy 600%. Even while dealing with the crown's debuff, the hero grins, realizing the curse works like a portable charger to refill his death energy. With a wild shine in his eyes, the young guy lets him know that it is time to show his rival the true meaning of hopelessness and pure power. Franklin panics completely, seeing a series of blasts going off all around him, bitterly regretting losing control of his precious crown. In a desperate attempt to flip the fight, the semi-lich tries casting his high-tier ice magic to freeze the whole arena in one go. He fires a deadly beam of blue energy that hits the MC square in the chest, throwing the kid back with serious force. The monster laughs out loud, celebrating the win, thinking a weak human body could never survive a direct hit from his spell. But to the villain's horror, the hero stands right back up without a single scratch, revealing he has lifelink, which splits all damage with his summons. Realizing the damage-splitting trick, the semi-lich quickly sets a new plan, deciding to use area of effect hits to wipe out the guy and his troops together. Franklin holds up his staff, summoning a giant blue rose, channeling a nasty decay spell to wither the life out of everyone in the arena. A flood of bone spikes and blue lightning bursts from the ground, building a literal death cage around our clever MC. Sumubai leaps skillfully, dodging the sharp stakes coming out of the dirt, while his skeleton warriors take the hits. He catches on to the opponent's trick of trying to break his lifelink using multiple AoE attacks, deciding to play it smart. The young guy simply pulls all his weakened skeletons back into the summon space, leaving the villain with 0 targets to hit. Right after, his strongest units rush in full force straight at the dragon, trying to chop off the enemy commander's head as fast as possible. A skeleton knight drops from above, landing a lightning-fast surprise hit that catches the semi-lich Franklin totally off guard. Sumubai grits his teeth, taking a bit of chip damage, but tells himself he just needs to hold on firm for a few more moments to win. Franklin crashes to the dirt pretty beat up, but still sports a winning smile, falsely believing the MC ran out of juice. Mocking his opponent, the hero spends his stacked death energy to drop a massive buff on his bone warrior, who rises back up giant-sized. The semi-lich looks up in total shock, seeing the dark, destructive shadow of the buffed minion ready to flatten him without mercy. With a single crushing strike, Franklin gets turned to dust, and the hero scores a mountain of experience that bumps him straight to level 17. Right after, the bone dragon Kaku's gets taken down too, adding another 25 million experience points to the kid's tab. With both bosses down, Sumubai hits level 19, and the game announces he is the first player from Earth to solo an epic rank boss. He celebrates big time upon scoring 50 medium soul stones, using his ascension to upgrade them into high-quality advanced stones. Absorbing all the stones, the hero adds another 50 years to his lifespan, finally fixing his terrible survival crisis. The server-wide alert leaves Wealthy World's guild stunned by the historical feat, with everyone agreeing they need to stay super close to the powerful hero. On the flip side, the villainous Liu Ruyan smirks with disgust, claiming his strength does not matter, since any guy will end up bowing at her feet one way or another. Back in the desert, the guy gathers the valuable battle drops, discovering he got a special epic rank item called the Dragon Bone Pendant. The info reveals that using the accessory allows the player to summon an epic rank flying mount, which is none other than an impressive bone dragon. Amazed by the idea of flying across the map, the guy decides to use his evolution talent on the item to see how far he can push it. The pendant gets upgraded to the legendary Frost Warhorn, allowing the MC to summon and tame the legendary giant frost dragon. Sumubai blows the mystic horn, creating a massive blue energy portal in the sky that starts freezing everything around with its magic aura. A thick, freezing death mist covers the whole desert area, making the MC himself shield up against that scary pressure. A massive, sharp claw steps out of the dimensional portal, paired with a booming voice calling the summoner a foolish, insignificant human. The colossal giant frost dragon shows itself completely, mocking the guy for being such a weakling, but the creature's fate takes a sudden turn. A massive pillar of purifying light strikes the flying dragon full force, serving as divine system punishment to tame the wild beast. Sumubai watches the show shocked as the dragon, now completely submissive and terrified, bows its head, respectfully calling him master. Faced with the horn's power, the dragon kneels down, swearing absolute loyalty, and the guy officially unlocks the slot for his new legendary mount. A global announcement congratulates the hero on securing the fantastic mount, forcing the system to open the leaderboard for that category early. Holding the mini-dragon on his shoulder, the young guy sees he takes the solo top spot on the board, while other players cannot even dream of having a mount. Sumubai stands there blown away, reading the colossal stats of his new mythical mount, which packs passive intimidation and control skills. Back in the city, regular adventurers go into full panic mode seeing the guy's legendary dragon, commenting that he plays on a totally different level. Others try to cope by mocking their own rich bosses who dropped fortunes but stay weak, proving money is useless there. While playing around with his mini-mount, the MC gets called back by Rhodes' Phantom, warning he finally tracked down the villain's soul box. Curious about the reveal, the young guy steps up to get the location details, while the spirit guide firmly points the right way to the target. The duo walks through the dense, creepy forest in the land of the forgotten, searching for the vessel holding the true life force of the defeated Franklin. They find the soul coffin wrapped in purple smoke, and the system reveals the Lich cannot truly die unless that durable container gets destroyed. The guy stands there impressed, noticing the box packs 1 million durability points, requiring serious effort to be completely wiped out. Rode asks for permission to handle that personal issue himself, while the villain's spirit cracks the coffin with laughs, mocking the Phantom's power. The Phantom Mayor channels the rage of every eaten soul, breaking the container once and for all under Franklin's screams of agony. With the threat officially wiped out, the guide thanks the hero deeply for everything he did to save the souls and bring peace back to the land. Tears of relief and gratitude run down Rode's ghost face, finally feeling avenged and ready to rest in peace in the afterlife. The hero wraps up all open quests, scoring a ridiculous pile of legendary loot, celebrating big as he successfully hits level 20. He heads back to Eastern Sea City through a portal, grins noticing he is still the only player in the area, since no one else hit level 10 yet. Taking advantage of the quiet main city, the necromancer decides this is the perfect chance to summon and test out his new flying mount. Sumubai holds out his hand with authority, summoning the mighty giant frost dragon, which spawns impressively to answer its master's call. The monstrous beast lands with a heavy crash in the town square, and the kid climbs onto its back, planning to fly over to Situji's palace to turn in the quest. The dragon takes off, flapping its massive wings, generating strong wind gusts as it cuts through the city sky under Sumubai's command. From high up on his balcony, Sovereign Situji watches the legendary mount approach, mentally admitting the young guy blew way past all his expectations. The hero lands on the terrace and walks calmly toward the palace, ready to show up before the powerful leader and claim his proper answers. Stepping into the grand hall, the city sovereign orders the adventurer to shrink his mount's size to avoid breaking the decor for no reason. The dragon shrinks instantly, settling onto Sumubai's shoulder, while the old man lets out a sigh of relief, glad his nice carpet was not ruined by the beast's claws. C2G invites the hero to chat in his tea room, commenting that his hidden class is way more powerful and rare than a simple dominator class. Intrigued by the statement, the MC sits down comfortably, asking if there are subclasses or different types within that same group. The old man admits he does not know for sure, but since the kid passed the test, he promises to answer a few valuable questions about the game's class system. He explains classes are split into 4 tiers, revealing the kid's Sovereign of Death class sits at the server's absolute top exclusivity rank. The Sovereign admits he is pretty confused over how the young guy broke the level cap so early, and Sumubai plays dumb to hide his evolution system. The Elder warns him not to celebrate too early because the stronger the class, the bigger the challenge and sacrifice required to actually evolve it. He reveals a major war is about to blow up on the continent, and that the elite guild wants the kid to help conquer and unite the other nations. The hero questions how doable that wild plan is, reminding the leader that the borders between countries are still totally locked down. C2G presents a mysterious letter and a picture, telling the guy to deliver the doc to a specific person who will hand him a free travel pass. Sumubai checks out the picture, recognizing the appraiser Huaijian, signing a strict contract that will hunt him down if he tries breaking the set rules. The elder promises to recommend the guy to the Grand Imperial Hall down the line, adding he has one more valuable gift to hand over as a travel reward. He holds out a green jade medallion, swearing that with that artifact, the adventurer will enjoy free movement and top authority across all of Eastern Sea City. Reading the stats on the Eastern Sea token, the kid gets hyped, discovering he just won the deed to a luxury mansion right in the main city. The ruler warns that with that badge, the young guy can do whatever he wants in town, and the MC immediately starts cooking up some pretty dark ideas. Carrying a dark red shine in his eyes, the necromancer flashes a sinister smile, asking cold-bloodedly if he also has permission to eliminate people. Caught totally off guard by the kid's cold tone, the elder swallows hard, asking nervous who exactly those targets he wants to wipe out would be. The young guy grips the medallion, remembering with pure hate the traitor Liu Ruyan and the fake friend Zhao Shu, swearing silently that payback time is right around the corner. Sumubai mounts his giant dragon and takes off from the palace terrace, cutting through the wind at high speed to claim his luxurious new pad. From high up on his dragon, he checks out Eastern Sea City, admitting the main city is massive and will soon rival the Empire's capital in size. The Frost Dragon lands smoothly at the entrance of a giant luxury mansion, and the MC hops off excited, knowing this will be his main base. However, two armed guards block Sumubai's path abruptly, claiming that is private property and strictly off-limits to outsiders. But the soldiers' arrogant attitude instantly flips to full panic when they catch sight of the badge the guy has hanging from his waist. The guard checks out the official medallion, shaking with fear upon confirming it is the super-rare Eastern Sea token personally crafted by the top ruler. Hands in his pockets, the hero walks through the gates carrying total dominance, while the soldiers bow down respectfully, welcoming the master home. Checking out the luxury of his new yard packed with golden fountains and statues, Sumubai grins super satisfied, admitting the old leader was pretty generous. Without overthinking it, the guy decides to officially name his massive mansion the White Knight Courtyard to give it a more personal touch. The system welcomes the owner, letting him know the location is now set as his official teleport and respawn point in the big city. Sumubai steps inside, mouth wide open seeing the palace is already fully decorated and furnished with top-tier luxury, saving him from dropping a single penny. He flops down comfortably on the soft sofa, deciding to use the downtime to pull up his spellbook and learn a fresh skill. But the hero lets out a moan over the cost, realizing he will have to dump all his stacked 1,000 soul points in one go to unlock the spell. Either way, he learns the legendary skill Death Domain Leap, which lets him teleport instantly while also clearing debuffs off his body. He checks out the move's specs, getting super happy upon realizing that was the exact mobility spell missing from his kit. Hyped up with the new SSS rank spell, the MC opens a blue magic portal right in front of the couch, deciding to test out the effect in practice right away. The guy steps through the energy vortex in a flash, vanishing completely from the luxury room without leaving a single trace behind. He pops back up by surprise right beside one of his new guards, scaring the poor guy, laughing it off saying he was just testing out his powers. Back in the living room, the hero gets a bright idea, deciding to test if he can use the portal to summon his soldiers straight out of the summon space. The test turns out a huge success, and dozens of skeleton knights start marching out of the teleport portal with total dominance. Sumubai stands there amazed by the spell's power, letting him drop his troops at any spot, only bummed that SSS rank spells cannot evolve further. Set on doing some shopping, the necromancer readies his portal, deciding to head over to the town market to score some quick pocket cash. The guy starts reselling upgraded gems to a local vendor who gets blown away by the precious goods, asking him to swing by any time. He repeats the buy and sell trick with other local shopkeepers, using his Ascension evolution to make crazy profits off the item price gap. Pockets stuffed, the hero celebrates making over 200,000 coins off the cheat, deciding to check out the auction house to see what is new. Sumubai walks casually through the imperial streets of the massive Eastern Sea City, taking in the beauty and rich design of the new area. He walks into the flashy gold building of the auction house, left blown away by the crazy flex of the place, seeing it as the ultimate spot to drop cash. But the hero gets stopped on the stairs by a classy receptionist who politely lets him know the second floor is a VIP-only zone for special guests. The girl explains a super pricey ticket is required to go up, and the young guy gasps, seeing the crazy high costs charged for event passes. Flashing a sarcastic smile, the hero shows off Situji's medallion, and the receptionist changes her tone instantly, realizing he is a guest of the sovereign. She hands over a free VIP pass numbered 7, guaranteeing the kid gets exclusive discounts and direct access to a private luxury room at the auction. The attendant reveals he will get reduced fees and a credit line in soul coins if needed, and the young guy asks what the conversion rate is for regular gold. She explains a single soul coin is worth 10,000 regular gold coins, and the guy gets that this is the real high-value currency of the Forbidden Lands. Sumubai shows off his level 5 rare jewels, and the clerk goes into total shock, estimating each one could fetch up to 10 soul coins at today's auction. He hands over the bag full of rare gems for the girl to handle the sale, heading up the stairs eager to stuff his pockets with that new valuable currency. Halfway up, the hero hears the system ping, opening his control panel upon noticing he just got a fresh private text message. Meanwhile, in the city's huge main plaza, the teleport gate shines super bright, signaling the arrival of fresh adventurers in town. Wealthy World's guild steps out of the portal, amazed by the area's beauty, and the leader asks where they should meet up with the powerful White Knight. Suddenly, the fighters point up at the sky stunned, spotting the giant frost dragon soaring through the city clouds at high speed. The Knight Maple Leaf Xiaoxiao reminds his party that absurd mount belongs to the hero, and everyone starts craving a similar flying power. Sumu Bai lands smoothly next to the group, and the leader warmly thanks the guy, bringing up how her guild leveled up fast thanks to the gear he sold them. She hands over the rest of the gold payment for the deal made earlier, and the MC says goodbye, wishing them luck exploring the city. However, the billionaire asks him to hold on a sec, leaving the hero pretty intrigued and confused by the sudden pause. Wealthy World pulls out a legendary scroll, revealing her max-rank divine talent managed to print that relic called the Scroll of Destiny. Sumubai grins in his head, thinking that for a real player with his cheat power, that item locks in a guaranteed win, asking what the price tag is. To his surprise, the guild leader flashes a winning little smirk, letting him know firmly that legendary relic is not up for sale for money. She explains her goal is to pitch a deep, lasting partnership between them, and the MC asks her to spell out the terms of the deal. But the talk gets cut off by the flashy arrival of his rival Hong Tu, who pops out of the portal mocking the party for arriving before him in the big city. Hong Tu stomps off swearing in anger, while the MC ignores his rival's whining, wondering if the cheating duo is not about to show up too. Fresh portals start tearing open in the plaza, bringing in more players, and Wealthy World's team notices the hero is wearing a super cold, serious look. With eyes filled with hate, Sumubai holds out his hand, summoning dozens of skeleton warriors, coldly ordering them to block the whole exit area. The Bone Soldiers lock down the paths forcefully, causing widespread panic, and the guy warns that no one gets permission to leave the spot. The party's mage suggests everyone stay put since White Knight must have his reasons, while Wealthy World watches the scene super surprised. The trapped players start yelling in rage, demanding answers, complaining upon noticing their stats dropped by 20% from his aura. Sumubai asks for quiet, letting them know he just needs everyone's cooperation, and that adventurers can only pass the wall one by one under his check. A few troublemakers start mocking the hero, making trashy gestures and shouting that he does not run the city and has zero authority to pull that off. But in a split second, the big mouth gets sent flying back by an invisible, devastating blow, leaving the crowd in total panic and terror. Sumubai stares down the shaking crowd with a cold, piercing look, asking with full authority if anyone else there has an issue. From high up on his flying mount, the hero gives a cold warning that if no one else has an issue, he will kick off his personal screening right now. Carrying a sharp, relentless gaze, the MC states calmly that it is time to start checking every single player stepping out of the portal. He sets up a skeleton line to manage the exit, thinking to himself that it is impossible for the two traitors to slip out of this perfect trap. The cheating duo Liu Ruyan and Zhao Shu finally step out of the portal, left totally confused by the weird lockdown at the city entrance. Looking up, the two go into complete shock upon recognizing Sumubai, finding out he is the legendary White Knight. The MC catches the familiar voices he hated so much, flashing a dark smile, noticing his payback time finally came knocking at the door. Zhao Shu whispers nervous, saying their lives depend on her, but the villainess brushes it off, claiming she just needs a bit of charm to bend her ex-fiancé. Liu Ruyan starts crying fake tears, putting on an ultra-fragile face, pretending to be the regretful, deeply in love fiancé like always. She runs over dramatically with open arms toward the MC, pretending to be super relieved to find her old, wealthy love again. But the hero just coldly orders the crowd to back off, knowing full well things are about to get extremely messy. The fake girl wraps her arms around him, saying she had such a hard time tracking him down, and the kid just replies with sarcasm that he was eager for this meeting too. Zhao Shu walks up smiling, trying to play the loyal buddy, claiming the fiancé turned the whole village upside down, looking for him after his mysterious recovery. The fake friend tries hiding the tension behind a fake grin, but Sumubai remembers with rage the exact moment the scoundrel ripped off his oxygen mask. Without any warning, the MC turns his back with pure coldness, giving his summons the kill order to teach the traitor a painful lesson. Zhao Shu gets grabbed violently by a giant skeleton, shaking in terror, totally lost as to why he is getting hit so hard. Sumubai replies with disgust that this is just his way of returning the loyalty, telling his creatures to slice him up mercilessly until he croaks. Liu Ruyan watches the scene horrified, while the crowd whispers shocked, realizing the legendary hero actually plans to murder the blonde warrior right there. Getting ripped apart by the skeletons, the traitor begs, saying it is all a huge misunderstanding, while the MC coldly asks how it feels to die. Eyes shining a demonic red, the hero glares at his ex-fiancée, asking if she would also like to sample that exact same agonizing pain. In the blink of an eye, Zhao Shu's body gets cleanly sliced in half under a splash of blood, marking the traitor's first kill in the game. The system alerts the blonde warrior's death, and Sumubai walks slowly toward Liu Ruyan, letting her know it is her turn to pay for her sins. The fake girl panics completely, crying real tears for the first time, trying to convince herself it is impossible for the guy to know the whole truth. Right then, Wealthy World warns that the city guards are flying in, and the MC decides to act fast to wrap up his payback. The Imperial Knights land on the spot, politely commenting that the commotion pulled by the hero is a bit too loud for the city's standards. Sumubai asks his allies to go ahead, promising to check in later, while thanking the captain, assuring him everything will wrap up shortly. He apologizes to the Imperial Guard for the mess, but warns he already tracked down the people he was looking for and will now finish his job for good. The hero summons his giant frost dragon, grabbing his ex-fiancée by force, getting ready to take her to the next phase of his personal revenge. He drags the villainess onto the flying beast, warning her the fun is just getting started and that their final stop will be the Resurrection Temple. The guard captain watches the dragon take off, letting out a sigh, realizing the young troublemaker is about to cause serious damage at the town church. He orders his troops to march over to the temple right away to keep public order, ensuring no other players get hurt in the chaos. In the Resurrection Hall, Zhao Shu spawns back coughing, furious upon getting the alert that he lost 10 years of his lifespan from that quick death. He tries to catch his breath in front of the angel statue, but his peace gets ruined by heavy footsteps echoing down the hall entrance. Sumubai walks in dragging Liu Ruyan by her hair, while she begs for a chance to explain herself in total desperation. He slams the fake girl onto the ground next to her partner, asking the blonde warrior sarcastically how sweet that first death experience was. The villainess drops to her knees begging for mercy, spitting lies claiming she was forced by the blonde guy, asking if he forgot their 5 years together. The kid snaps back cold that he remembers every single detail of that trash relationship, commanding his creatures to execute the witch without mercy. Liu Ruyan starts screaming desperate for help, while the skeleton's sharp claws move in ruthlessly against her defenseless body. The traitor gets brutally ripped apart by the summons, and Zhao Shu watches it all shaking in fear, realizing his fate is going to be the exact same. The coward drops to his knees, forehead pressed against the floor, begging the hero for forgiveness, admitting his mistakes in hopes of dodging death. Sumubai just looks down at the worm crawling at his feet with total disgust, asking cold if he really thinks things work like that. The hero crushes the traitor's head against the ground with a burst of dark energy, calling in another painful kill for the fake friend. He looks at the two bodies lying in the hall, keeping in mind that after dying, players get only 30 minutes to decide if they will voluntarily respawn. The kid turns around and steps out, satisfied to finally see that pair of scoundrels get the exact punishment they deserved. Half an hour later, Liu Ruyan respawns, losing another 10 years of life, dropping to her knees begging for her soul upon seeing the guy waiting for her. The hero stares at her with a dark, scary face, asking if she wore that same fake expression when she pulled his life support at the hospital. disgusted by her presence. He lands a heavy kick that sends her flying, warning that killing a snake of her kind would only dirty his hands. The villainess gets kicked out of the Resurrection Temple under the winning gaze of the MC, who finally wraps up the chapter on his big personal revenge. He stretches his arms, taking a deep breath of relief for finally finishing his big payback, letting it be known he is now going to enjoy the game for real. The guard captain steps up to log the event, and the hero thanks him for the support, assuring him the traitors got what they deserve. Under the city's blue sky, Sumubai readies his next move, planning to buy items and stack gold coins to upgrade his gear. Sumubai steps out of a portal right in the middle of the busy city plaza. He looks at his coins, complaining that traveling across 10 cities to buy and sell stuff is a total waste of time. But his luck flips when Wealthy World hits him up wanting to talk, popping up at the perfect moment like a total miracle. Skipping small talk, the MC heads over to meet the girl at an insanely luxury restaurant in the heart of the main city. While waiters serve up a feast fit for kings, Sumubai asks her to cut to the chase and tell him what she actually wants from him. She explains she is not great at combat, but her talent for making bank is unbeatable, which is why she plans to launch a chamber of commerce. The hero warns her straight up that he will not accept a traditional deal, but admits he really needs a trusted agent. With that, he rests his hand over a bag of resources, triggering his magic glow to show off what he can do. The girl goes into total shock, watching the display of power happen right in front of her wide eyes. Sumubai explains super calmly that his big secret talent allows him to rank up any item in the game. Blown away by that broken ability, she almost passes out when he offers her just 1% of the profits to manage the whole thing. She takes the deal, but asks for 10 million gold coins to pull off her class change, leaving the MC outraged by the price tag. To lock in the partnership, she proposes a soul contract, promising to keep only 5% of all future profits from the deal. The system panel reveals her exclusive God of Wealth class requires her to stack that massive fortune to get unlocked. The kid realizes that if she tried saving that cash on her own, it would take her a whole eternity shaking her money tree. He asks if she is dead serious about that crazy split, and the girl confirms she has never been more sure in her life. With a handshake, the soul contract gets locked in, and breaking the deal will result in the total destruction of the traitor's soul. Trusting his partner, the young guy transfers the 10 million gold coins she needed to pull off her job upgrade on the spot. A pillar of golden light wraps around the girl's body, confirming her class change to God of Wealth was completed smoothly. The hero asks if she unlocked any new skills, and she answers hyped up that she got 2 awesome abilities. The first is Money Shield, a broken passive that gives defense points for every single gold coin carried in her bag. The second is the God of Wealth Ingot, an indestructible, unique item that boosts all her combat stats by a solid amount. Sumubai checks out the relic, noticing the golden ingot works pretty similarly to his own Tome of Death. Out of nowhere, the girl's money tree pops up in the room and starts growing massive, leaving both of them pretty blown away. The magic plant shines super bright, dropping a crazy amount of shiny items all over the room floor. She celebrates laughing out loud, seeing she scored hundreds of soul coins and even an advanced life soul stone. The girl hands over the shiny jewels, begging her new boss to use his upgrade talent to see what happens. Sumubai accepts the challenge, triggering his evolution power, making the gem glow super bright amid golden magic sparks. The system reveals the gem turned into a life soul crystal, a rare treasure that adds 100 years of lifespan to whoever uses it. His partner's eyes turn to star shapes, and she screams with joy, seeing her boss manage to craft such a valuable item. Right after, the game panel announces the protection period ended, showing Sumubai sitting alone at the top of the level leaderboard. The hero hands over a VIP pass for the auction house, letting her know he also owns a property in town she will be in charge of running. She asks where he is heading, and the kid replies that she should check out business ops while he goes turn in an important quest. Sumubai travels over to a beautiful waterfall in Red Maple City, finding Master Huijian focused in front of an art canvas. Catching the young guy's arrival, the painter flashes a pleased smile, commenting that the kid came back super fast. The old man shows off his terrible, childish drawing of a river, asking with a totally straight face what he thought of his masterpiece. Sumubai fakes huge enthusiasm, praising the awful painting, calling it the most perfect divine work in all of history. The painter lets out a proud laugh, commenting he now realized the kid is the sovereign of death, asking if he brought the requested items. The young guy presents a giant pile of 10,000 ancient gold coins, and the master stands there mouth open, seeing all that gold shining. Super happy with the delivery, the old man winks at the hero, asking him to never forget him if he runs into more rare coins. Next, the painter starts making hand gestures, focusing a powerful bright green energy aura around his calloused hands. The hero gets the notification that he cleared the secret quest, winning a temp skill called Shadow Hunting Sword Aura. The panel breaks down that the devastating power does not take up a skill slot, and the MC realizes how insane the master's strength really is. Sumubai reaches into his pocket and pulls out a sealed letter, saying he has one more small personal favor to ask the old painter. The master checks out the mysterious doc, asking with suspicion if the kid is actually planning on crossing the national border. Seeing the hero confirm it, the old man summons a green whirlwind in the sky, offering a friendly lift to the guy. Sumubai is caught off guard by the master's speed, asking if they are taking off right that second without any prep time. Back at the plaza, the guild members look up at the sky amazed by the green portal, betting their boss is up to something again. Wealthy World flashes a confident grin, letting them know their duty is just to do their job, because that man will lead them to the absolute top. Meanwhile, the duo cuts across the border at high speed, arriving in the beautiful, sunny floral lands of the mysterious Tianqi Kingdom. Sumubai stands amazed by the new kingdom's beauty, but the old painter just grumbles, saying he is making a mountain out of a molehill. The system congratulates the hero for crossing the border, but warns he is now tagged as an unwanted invader, and everyone will try kicking him out. Not wanting to carry dead weight, the master says goodbye, stating he has his own business to handle, vanishing into thin air with a magic slash, leaving the kid to his fate. Since game rules block invaders from stepping into the main city, the MC decides to just wander aimlessly around the outskirts to explore the map. Right in the middle of his quiet walk, Sumubai hears a weird noise coming from behind the trees, turning around curious to see what is going on. Suddenly, a giant demon vulture drops from the sky, swooping at the guy, who gets a massive shock from the flying beast's colossal size. The monster pecks the dirt with crazy violence, kicking up a dust cloud and rocks across the forest from the devastating hit. With no time for games, the MC dodges agilely, summoning his powerful frost dragon to balance out the aerial dogfight. The massive blue dragon pops up roaring loud in the sky, ready to show the pushy bird who actually runs this domain. The two colossal beasts collide mid-air, firing blasts of destructive energy at each other, putting on a light show in the middle of the woods. The magic clash sets off a massive energy burst in the sky, making the ground shake from the sheer impact between the creatures. The giant vulture lets out a screech of pain as it gets hit by the hero's mount's frost attack, losing its balance mid-flight. Catching the opening, Sumubai holds out his hand, coldly commanding his mount to focus all its attack power. The demon bird tries to fight back, diving with sharp talons at the dragon, desperate to regain control of the battle. The flying monster fires slashes of purple energy at the frost mount, trying every trick in the book to shatter the dragon's shield. Luckily, Sumubai manages to dodge at the last second using his upgraded teleport, popping back up at a safe distance from the lethal strike. He celebrates in his head for leveling up his escape skill, locking in an awesome max range to dodge any danger. Wearing a sarcastic grin, the MC decides it is time to give the giant bird a pretty nasty surprise. He summons his giant skeleton warriors high above the vulture, setting up a heavy mid-air trap to squash the creature. The hero has a blast imagining the monster getting crushed by the weight of his bone soldiers, watching from afar as his minions drop. Sick of wasting time on that pointless fight, Sumubai commands his dragon to fly off, leaving the vulture to deal with the skeletons. He hits the southern forest, spotting a party of local adventurers hunting for him, all hyped to take down the famous invader and claim the bounty. The fighters talk big, promising to show off their squad's strength, totally clueless that their target is standing right behind them. Sumubai finds that dumb confidence hilarious, holding out his hand, deciding to let his bone helpers give the squad a proper welcome. The giant skeletal creatures burst from the dirt, terrifying the soldiers, who are totally lost as to how mobs of that tier popped up nearby. One of the summons holds up its glowing sword, leaking a dark, destructive energy, ready to slice the first clueless guy who blinks. The skeleton warrior slices one of the soldiers clean in half with crazy ease, sending the rest of the group into full panic, running and screaming for help. Word about the attack spreads fast, and other adventurers start arguing nervously over the hero's real identity and scary power. An old man wearing a monocle breaks down the situation, suggesting all regional players team up to hunt the invader together, since his strength is real. The old fox thinks to himself that going solo is stupid, planning to use the crowd as a meat shield to just land the last hit and steal the rewards. Meanwhile, the MC relaxes comfortably on a tree branch, watching the massive crowd move in, happy that they finally showed up. The armed crowd yells insults, calling White Knight a coward, demanding he step out of hiding for a fair one-on-one duel. But before they can process what is happening, several fighters start getting hit by invisible, devastating strikes coming from all sides. The system alerts him that he took out an opponent, and Sumubai grins from up in the tree, getting ready to play for real with the challengers. With an evil glare, the young guy triggers his skill, warning he will leave every enemy with just one health point for his skeletons to finish off. The skeleton warriors push against the weakened crowd, and desperation takes over everyone as they realize they are on the edge of an early death. Panicking with only one health point left, a few fighters try a joint suicide charge, hoping to bring down the MC in one go. But Sumubai's summons block the fighters easily, clashing against the enemy swords with overwhelming defensive force. Some adventurers notice they survived the first hit, grabbing their courage back, shouting for the rest of the horde to charge the skeletons. However, when trying to strike the bone monsters, their weapons just bounce off the heavy armor without dealing a scratch. The hero watches the group from afar, bored, complaining about how weak his opponents are, hoping the big national war kicks off soon to get real challenges. Suddenly, one of the surviving players points down the road, shouting relieved as he spots the flashy arrival of the city's royal guard. The Grand Imperial Knights show up galloping at high speed, ordering with top authority for the dangerous invader to stop the attacks. Sumubai finds the situation funny, flashing a mocking smile, curious to test out the real strength of the realm's native guards. He commands his skeletal creatures to push against the Imperial troops, sparking a direct clash right in the middle of the dirt road. To the hero's surprise, the guard captain lands a clean slash, wiping out an entire skeleton warrior with a single sword strike. The MC goes into total shock over the guard's insane strength, realizing he totally underestimated the powerful native fighters of this world. The Imperial Knights spot Sumubai up in the trees, pointing their weapons his way, telling the whole cavalry to move in fast. Realizing he was spotted and that the guards are charging his way out for blood, the kid readies himself to match the danger. Sumubai activates Gaze of Death, dropping a massive 40,000 damage hit on a guard, sending the troops into panic, seeing the health vanish instantly. The hero flashes a sarcastic little smile, noticing the Imperial guards are not so tough when facing his real power. Before things get even riskier, the kid decides to wave goodbye to the annoyed guards, hopping without hesitation into his escape portal. The Imperial Knight stands there scratching his helmet looking clueless, completely lost as to where the mysterious invader managed to run off to. Sumubai steps through the portal, landing right in a ruined city covered in corpses scattered across the floor, leaving the guy pretty intrigued by the chaotic scene. Suddenly, the vibe gets super heavy, and the MC feels a chill run down his spine, realizing his peace in this new area lasted pretty short. A giant demon vulture with black wings swoops down from the sky at high speed, ready to slice any invader who sets foot in its ruined turf. Multiple winged mobs start flying over the wrecked area, and the hero realizes he needs to sprint fast if he wants to dodge those giant talons. Sumabai starts breaking into a cold sweat, realizing the whole location was wrecked by that demon bird, wondering if every person there was wiped out by it. The colossal creature swoops at him with brutal force, but the hero triggers his teleport just in time to dodge the monster's sharp claws. He pops back up right in the middle of a puddle in the wrecked setting, barely dodging the aerial strike that opened a deep crater in the cracked pavement. The giant two-headed vulture lets out a screech of pure rage and flaps its wings, sending a destructive shockwave to scout out the runner. Right then, the Imperial Guards fly in on their winged mounts, going on max alert as they recognize the legendary demon vulture. Ducking behind a massive tree, Sumabai celebrates the new targets showing up, internally thanking them for pulling the giant beast's rage. Panicking over the creature's power, the knights scream desperate, asking the captain to call in immediate backup to handle the wild monster. The group leader breaks into a cold sweat, lost as to how the legendary beast's seal was broken again, wondering what crazy person would unleash that force of nature. From his spot, the kid decides to drop complete chaos on the area, planning to test if his upgrade talent works on boss mobs. He sprints out from the forest toward the fight, grabbing the guards' attention, who wonder what that crazy invader is planning to pull off. With an evil smile, Sumabai locks his aim on the giant demon vulture, triggering his divine evolution talent to upgrade the wild creature. A massive pillar of golden light strikes the winged monster, kicking off a weird transformation process that terrifies even the Imperial Guards. The guard captain turns pale with horror, noticing the wild creature just leveled up inexplicably right in front of the whole squad. He shakes with fear, realizing the demon vulture just evolved into a legendary rank boss, making it an almost unbeatable opponent. Desperate, the soldiers scream for help while one of them warns it is way too late to call in backup against that colossal nightmare. A massive dark energy hydra pops out from the legendary monster's back, leaking a macabre aura of destruction that covers the whole forest in darkness. The captain commands an immediate retreat, realizing his men stand zero chance of winning against that overwhelming divine power. But before they could run, a blast of dark energy strikes one of the winged knights square on, taking down his mount in a violent blast. The surviving leader screams desperate for the others to try drawing the legendary beast away, while they seek instant help back in town. Sumabai just gives a sarcastic, mocking smile, hopping back into his escape portal, satisfied for throwing the whole Imperial Guard into total chaos. The captain looks back, yelling in hate at the invader White Knight, asking who that mysterious demon really is to wipe out his squad like that. Far away from the mess, the hero travels over to Mount Shifeng, using his treasure map to track down some valuable hidden relic. He checks out the canyon rocks, feeling suspicious upon noticing there are 0 elite mobs guarding the entrance to that secret map area. Out of nowhere, the system alerts him that he just found an unlocked, totally free, dark gold treasure chest lying on the ground. The kid grins from ear to ear, seeing the golden box sitting on the sandy ground, celebrating that sweet luck coming in so fast. Loving the high of getting free items, he kneels in front of the chest, triggering his upgrade talent to bump up the treasure's rarity. The object shines bright as it evolves to epic tier, but the panel alerts him that the chest is now locked, requiring 36 spatial crystals to open. Sumabai drops a curse in anger, realizing his plan to grab the reward for free flopped completely with that unexpected magic lock. Not knowing what to do, he fires a quick text to Wealthy World, asking her to buy up every spatial crystal available at the auction house. The kid tucks the heavy chest under his arm, deciding the best play now is to get the heck out before some monster pops up in the mountains. Moments later, his trade partner texts back, letting her boss know she successfully locked in the purchase of every item requested. She explains those crystals are rare materials used for teleport portals, confirming she already sent over the exact amount to the MC. The hero thanks her for the awesome service, commanding her to buy up any ice or death item or material that shows up at the next city auction. With the 36 spatial crystals in hand, Sumabai holds out his arms toward the epic treasure chest, telling the system to unlock the item. The object pops open in a burst of golden energy, revealing the legendary Ring of Luck, which grants awesome bonuses to whoever equips it in battle. Right after, the global system announces the city was completely wiped out by the legendary beast, and that the bounty on White Knight's head just doubled. In the main city, players start complaining furious over the villain's lockdown, crying because they can no longer do quests to level up. Brushing off the whining, Sumubai flies his frost dragon over to the creepy Blackbone Valley, concluding that isolated spot is perfect for grinding. He holds his book with a confident smile, noticing he's stacked enough soul points to read a fresh page of the powerful Tome of Death. The system alerts him that he unlocked the class evolution quest, which requires him to drop his own health down to just 1 point in under 5 seconds of combat. The hero bursts out laughing, remembering his passive already keeps him permanently sitting at just 1 health point, making the challenge laughably easy. He hops into the center of the dark valley, and the panel instantly alerts him that his lifelink passive was triggered and the quest was cleared. Sumubai clenches his fist, feeling the overwhelming Sovereign of Death energy surge through his body, hyped up as he hits his second-class tier with awesome stats. Sumubai clicks the system screen, deciding to use his power to directly evolve his most key class skills. Lifelink evolves into Death Contract at SS rank, and the Summon skill turns into Death Edict at SSS rank, building a broken summon combo. In the middle of his celebration, the kid looks up, noticing his frost dragon is also stacking energy to level up. The dragon breaks the level 30 barrier, reaching its juvenile form, letting out a deafening roar of loyalty to its powerful master. The MC flashes a subtle smile seeing the beast's new flashy look, realizing things are getting more and more fun. He mounts the dragon, letting it know it is time to hunt down the giant vulture, planning to turn that realm into the main stage for his undead army. Flying over the area, the hero notices the big two-headed bird went into hiding, locking his eyes on a castle packed with enemies right below. He checks out the local fighters gathered at the fortress entrance, quickly guessing those adventurers are cooking up some ambush. Wearing his usual dark look, Sumubai asks his mount if it wants to stir up some chaos, deciding to drop down and play with the group. Down below, the fighters talk worried, saying they need to use the knight to level up before the terrifying White Knight shows up. One of the guys yells out, hyping the group to hunt down the demon invader, doubting the rumors that the villain can summon thousands of undead at once. But his hype dies instantly as the giant frost dragon suddenly drops out from the clouds, throwing the crowd into total panic. The flying beast fires a devastating frost breath over the fighters, sending everyone running in absolute terror upon realizing the villain arrived. The MC travels over to the Black Mist Valley on the outskirts of Xiaoshan, hopping off his mount, ready to drop total terror across those lands. He flashes a dark smile from ear to ear, declaring he will use that setting as the grand debut stage for his brand new Annihilation army. Sumubai commands his dragon to fly free and hunt on its own while he starts summoning his ground troops inside the valley. Walking through the canyon with his soldiers, the young guy complains the place packs super weak mobs and that it is not the ideal spot to level up. Out of nowhere, a giant wolf wrapped in purple flames pops out from the shadows, growling furious at the MC's undead group. Thinking it is just a weak level 1 mob, the MC brushes off the monster, not guessing the real power that beast hides inside its body. But the creature fights back, landing a heavy hit that deals thousands of damage, surprising the hero upon noticing the mobs here are no pushovers. Set on ending the wild wolf's fun quickly, the young guy channels his magic into his hand, letting him know it is time for his opponent to meet real terror. With a commanding order, he triggers his skill, summoning the legendary Headless Knight mounted on his blue spectral horse to fight. The Phantom Knight pops up wielding a glowing sword, and Sumubai points cold at the wolf, ordering him to slice the monster without mercy. The summon charges at high speed, dropping a devastating slash of blue energy, taking out the enemy boss in a fraction of a second. The MC stands there catching his breath from the wind pressure set off by the hit, amazed by how brutal his Headless Knight's power really is. The game panel congratulates the guy for taking down the level 55 boss, handing over a massive pile of experience points and items. Right after, a golden energy wraps around his basic soldiers, and the kid watches intrigued as his skeletons start changing their physical form. The basic archers and mages get a crazy upgrade, evolving into level 30 skeleton kings, gaining stats 3 times higher. The basic skeleton warrior also evolves into a powerful heavy-armored warrior skeleton king, making his army infinitely more dangerous. Sumubai bursts out laughing with joy seeing his creatures evolve, celebrating that he finally managed to build his own legendary undead legion. He breaks down the new battle stats, organizing his army into balanced squads, featuring 1 warrior up front and 2 ranged attackers in the back. Drunk on his new top power, the MC laughs loud, swearing with open arms that he will sweep that whole forbidden land right off the game map. With a command shout, he orders his troops to push full force to wipe out every monster in the region, leaving absolutely 0 loot for rivals. The game panel starts spamming alerts of bosses wiped out by the hero's army, making Sumubai climb fast up to level 31. Mid-sweep, one of his soldiers points over to a rock crack in the mountain, grabbing the hero's focus by showing he found something unusual. The kid steps up, spotting a fiery portal glowing between the rocks, wondering if his creatures just sniffed out a secret dungeon. The system confirms the discovery of the level 60 poisonous serpent cave, and he picks normal difficulty just to test out the area's difficulty. 0 fear of danger, Sumubai steps through the light portal into the dark dungeon, lit up by torches along the canyon stone walls. He orders the headless knight to lead the charge alongside the soldiers to clear out the whole dungeon in one single wave. Meanwhile, inside a fancy imperial mansion, a Japanese lord shouts in rage upon receiving news that the invader White Knight dared attack the city of Xiaoshan. The general commands his troops to hold off the enemy with everything they have, promising he will personally capture the trash invader and bring justice. Matsumoto triggers his purple energy around his samurai armor, planning to capture the hero to claim the king's bounty and rank up in the empire. The ninja messenger praises his lord's awesome power, vanishing into a black smoke cloud to pass down battle orders to the rest of the troops. Far away, the level 30 frost dragon keeps soaring through the city sky, letting out a massive roar to intimidate the approaching imperial guard. The knights riding the giant birds attack the dragon, claiming White Knight is just asking for a death wish by challenging the royal guard army. The soldiers ready their bows and long-range rifles, firing a rain of shots and arrows, trying to bring down the hero's flying mount. One of the enemy fighters triggers his projection talent, letting everyone know he will live-stream the invader's capture for every inhabitant in the realm to see. Explosive arrows hit the frost dragon's body up in the sky, and the live stream starts filling with comments from viewers rooting for the villain's downfall. Inside the dungeon, Sumubai gets the alert that his mount is taking damage, scowling upon realizing someone dared hurt his dragon. He clenches his fist tight, deciding the moment is perfect to step out of the dungeon, since his army already wrapped up clearing the entire serpent cave. Sumubai appears wrapped in flames of golden energy in the city sky, ready to dive headfirst into battle against the imperial troops. The ice dragon roars loudly as winged warriors surround it, bravely holding off the attacks while waiting for orders from its master. General Matsumoto slams his spear onto the ground in fury and yells, demanding that White Knight reveal himself, threatening to take off the mount's head in 3 seconds. But the Empire leader's tough guy act instantly crumbles when he feels a massive, terrifying presence rising right behind his back. Dozens of gigantic snakes and skeleton monsters start dropping from the open sky portal onto the Imperial troops, spreading total panic. The soldiers start screaming in terror, completely clueless about where so many venomous monsters came from in the middle of a battle that already seemed lost. One of the guards falls to the ground, shaking with fear as he sees the giant snake's jaws closing in on him, realizing there is no way out. Sumubai flashes a sadistic smirk and mockingly lets them know that he only sent those monsters so the guards would have something to play with during the fight. The ice dragon swoops down at high speed toward General Matsumoto, who tries to stand his ground against the overwhelming aerial strike. High above, the headless knight makes his mount rear up and summons a massive vortex of dark energy, ready to unleash it on the army. The spectral creature charges forward in a devastating wave of destruction, running over enemy soldiers with absolutely insane physical strength. The guard captain tries to calm the troops by shouting that the skeletons are only level 30 monsters, ordering a focused attack to take them down. From above, the MC lets out a dark laugh, commenting that this undead army is a special gift he prepared with extra care. The Headless Knight delivers a heavy blow infused with the king's dark energy, triggering a tribute bonus that doubles all his stats. The enemy captain charges in full of confidence, thinking his ultimate level 60 attack will easily shatter the giant skeleton's barrier. But the guard leader gets sliced in half with an unbelievable 90,000 points of damage, going down instantly in front of the horrified soldiers. Right after, one of the hero's skeleton archers locks his aim onto another winged knight who was trying to escape through the city skies. The pinpoint shot pierces the soldier's chest, dealing nearly 500,000 damage in one go, claiming yet another instant defeat in the battle. One of the surviving guards starts stammering in terror as he sees his strongest comrades wiped out so easily by the army. In a total act of desperation, he charges forward screaming in rage, trying to strike the Headless Knight with every bit of strength left in his body. But his attack deals a measly 400 points of damage to the monster's armor, leaving the warrior completely stunned by the impenetrable defense. The crowd panics upon realizing that even the captain's hit barely tickled the monsters, and everyone starts running away, screaming that White Knight is a demon. Su-Mubai watches the retreat with arms crossed, explaining that his death pact splits all incoming damage equally among all dozens of his summons. Unable to put a single scratch on the undead, the Imperial soldiers just scream in despair while getting cornered by the giant skeletons. One of the skeleton kings gathers a massive sphere of blue fire in his bony hands, getting ready to launch a devastating area spell against the targets. A desperate General Matsumoto commands the immediate activation of Shaoshan City's defenses, yelling at them to use every weapon available to hold off the raid. The MC gives a cold smile, daring the survivors to hold out, while one of the messengers runs off screaming for urgent backup from the royal capital. Several soldiers flee in panic toward the royal capital begging for military help, while the hero's shadow army charges forward, wrecking the defenses. Meanwhile, at the secret society headquarters in the royal capital, a group of empire leaders gathers to discuss the recent attacks. The organization's president, Qi Yaozong, points his finger bossily and asks with suspicion what the mysterious visitor actually wants. The mysterious visitor turns out to be Master Huaijian, who casually sips his tea and mockingly replies that his business is none of theirs. With a swift sword strike, the painter slashes the president's teacup in half and vanishes into thin air, leaving the organization leader furious at the old man's nerve. Huaijian floats in mid-air, wrapped in powerful golden magic energy, proving himself to be an extremely powerful and intimidating warrior. The generals look up at the sky, breaking into a cold sweat, wondering where that mysterious warrior came from and what scheme he is actually plotting. Suddenly, a soldier rushes in to report that the Lord of Xiaoshan City is begging for reinforcements because the terrifying White Knight is tearing the place apart. The president vents in frustration, asking who on earth they ticked off to get into so much trouble, and orders an elite force to head out and assist in combat. But Huaijian blocks the path with golden lightning barriers, coldly warning them that no one leaves as long as he is present in the capital. The master floats in the middle of a yellow energy storm, playfully inviting every general in the room to mess with him for a bit. With a confident, challenging grin on his face, the old painter draws his weapon and invites the enemies to test the sharpness of his divine blade. Back on the battlefield, Su-Mubai decides to focus on his own goals and checks his tome to locate the epic boss he needs to hunt down. He lands with a thud on the dungeon's rocky ground, eager to find out the true power level of the terrifying boss monster residing in that cave. A massive golden-scaled cobra emerges from the shadows, hissing with huge venomous fangs, leaving the young man impressed by the monster's size. Without wasting any time, the hero points at the giant snake and orders his skeleton kings to attack the monster with everything they have. One of the undead generals strikes the cobra's head brutally with his dark axe, making the monster stagger under the impact of the blue magic. The MC watches the fight from a distance with a calm smile, curious to see if the massive creature can hold up against his legendary army. Another skeleton king unleashes a heavy strike with his glowing sword against the monster's scales, making it roar in pain as its defense is pierced. Realizing that the cobra's skin is pretty tough against physical slashes, Su Mubai orders his blue-flamed mages to launch their magic attacks. The undead mages fire off devastating blasts of blue fire at the snake, while the hero jokes around, telling them to turn the monster into soup. The giant serpent gets blasted by a barrage of physical hits and magic spells all at once, getting trapped by the army's raw power. Surrounded by an aura of freezing energy and cornered by the hero's relentless summons, the cobra roars in agony, realizing its end is right around the corner. Su Mubai celebrates the win upon seeing that not even the strongest cobra in the cave could survive the heavy siege from his creatures. The system congratulates the hero on the victory, and he jumps straight to level 42, hyped over the insane amount of experience he earned. Determined to make the most of his lucky streak, the MC gathers his army and keeps walking fearlessly toward the depths of the dungeon. Meanwhile, in Xiaoshan City, players receive the server-wide alert and stand flabbergasted, noticing that the mysterious invader has already cleared the secret dungeon. The community goes into full panic mode over the level gap, commenting in shock that the guy's leveling speed feels like a straight-up cheat code. The leaderboard shows Su Mubai sitting alone at the absolute top of the server, making the other competitors look like a bad joke with such a massive gap. Far away, Master Huaijian keeps hovering in the middle of his magic storm, keeping the guards and kingdom leaders completely under control with his power. The Imperial soldiers are pinned in midair by magic pressure, totally unable to fight back against the legendary old painter's overwhelming force. President Qi Yaozong screams in pure rage, demanding to know who this arrogant invader is and what he plans to do in the royal capital of the Tianqi kingdom. With a mysterious smile, the old man calmly replies that he only came to grab a few items back for his personal collection. In the blink of an eye, Huaijian flies toward the royal vaults, and the frantic president orders his troops to chase him down to see what he wants to steal. When they arrive, the guards panic as they find the treasure chests wide open, discovering that the Empire's vault was completely looted by the old man. The system broadcasts a global penalty for the loss of the royal treasure, dropping every player's level across the nation and causing total meltdown in the capital. While chaos reigns in the enemy empire, Su Mubai strolls casually with his scrolls and legendary soul stones, extremely pleased with the loot. Suddenly, the Tome of Death starts glowing with an intense golden light, sensing the presence of rare endgame gear in the Forbidden Zone. The young man gets confused by the sacred book's sudden reaction and feels a strange energy wrap around his body as visions start flashing in his mind. An image of the majestic sacred temple empire appears before his eyes, and he remembers that it is one of the biggest powerhouses in the game world. Knowing that taking on an empire of that size takes serious planning, the young man decides to fall back to his base in East Sea City before making any moves. The MC steps through the portal and celebrates in relief as he returns to the safety of East Sea City, eager to meet up with his business partner again. Wealthy World congratulates him on the achievement and tells him that the whole kingdom already knows he basically destroyed the enemy army all by himself. Taking advantage of the moment, the girl suggests founding a merchant guild, and Su Mubai names the organization Innumerable Worlds, pleasing the whole group. With a confident smile, she sends the official alliance invite to the hero, swearing that their brand will eventually dominate the entire game market. The other loyal adventurers accept the invite right away, joining forces to build the biggest business empire in the history of those lands. The system confirms the partnership and grants the position of new guild president to Su Mubai, who accepts the lead with his classic cocky grin. The hero orders the group to head straight to the city auction house to buy up all available valuable materials and kick off operations. The server wealth leaderboard updates, showing the MC isolated in first place with an absurd fortune of 38 million soul coins. The guild drops a global announcement offering great fixed salaries and commissions for professionals, making city players go crazy to apply. The crowd rushes hype toward the organization's headquarters, chatting about how this is the best job opportunity in the entire Myriad Worlds game. Crafting specialists gather happily to submit their application forms, celebrating that they won't have to spend a fortune buying crafting materials anymore. Wealthy World manages the massive line of applicants at the commercial building entrance, asking for patience while handling each interested player. Watching the movement from afar, Sumubai plans to expand the trade empire to the auction houses of every major metropolis in the game real soon. The hero guarantees, with full determination, that in less than a month, their merchant guild will dominate the whole financial market of the Shenlong Empire. Meanwhile, in a dark fortress, a lord orders his top elite assassin to set out immediately and track down White Knight's location. The dangerous assassin known as Phantom Hand licks his sharp dagger with a psycho look in his eyes, swearing the invader will end up on the edge of his blade. The game interface displays the executioner's max-level stealth talent, revealing absurd damage bonuses and unmatched invisible speed. Later on, the MC takes his dragon to the Lord's Palace in East Sea City and confirms he wants to travel to the legendary Sacred Violet Empire. Sitting in front of City Lord Situji, the young man casually lays back and explains he needs to go there because there is a super important item he wants to grab. The old man warns that the neighboring empire is on a whole different level of strength, raising doubts about whether the kid is truly ready for such a dangerous trip. Situji explains that to get travel authorization, he needs to take part in the Shenlong Academy exam and go through advanced elite training. Confident in his own combat skills, Sumubai answers without hesitation that he accepts the challenge and is ready to take the exam right then and there. Pleased with the kid's drive, the ruler holds his glowing magic staff and decides to open the special portal to help the hero with the test. He summons a huge portal of golden flames and warns that the path beyond that point will have to be walked completely solo by the MC in the new region. The old man watches the young guy walk through the portal and sighs, proud, remarking that the kid possesses a truly brilliant and fearless battle spirit. Sumubai arrives in a flowery valley inhabited by herds of spirit rhinos, complimenting the lovely view while the system alerts the start of the exam. He walks casually across the plain, but gets cut off when he notices the huge wild beasts starting to stare at him with unfriendly eyes. All of a sudden, two enraged rhinos charge at high speed toward him, catching the kid pretty off guard with the unexpected speed of the attack. A skeleton pops up to protect the hero and easily crushes the beast, making the young man wipe the sweat off his forehead, relieved it was just a weak enemy. But his relief is short-lived as the ground starts shaking violently and a huge blast of real flames consumes the trees right in front of him. The real exam boss emerges from the ashes, revealing itself as the terrifying level 110 Flame Emperor Lion, leaving the MC in total shock. Sumubai activates his summoning magic energy and calls his skeleton kings into battle, ordering his little brothers to get to work. Sumubai's skeleton warriors charge fiercely at the flame lion, starting a heavy melee brawl full of flying sparks. The beast roars in rage and swings a claw covered in flames that hits the summons head-on, making the hero feel the indirect shockwave. The MC feels a sharp pain in his chest due to the shared damage and complains bitterly that the academy exam is no walk in the park. To hold back the monster's push, he commands his skeleton archers to focus all their magic shots directly at the creature. An insane flurry of energy arrows hits the lion's body, creating a huge explosion of smoke and dust across the training plain. But the flame lion steps out from the smoke completely scratch-free, leaving Sumubai super confused upon realizing his attack dealt 0 damage. The beast gathers its power and fires off a massive column of fire against the skeleton warrior's barrier, trying to burn down everything in its way. Realizing his opponent is way too broken, the young guy decides he needs to go broken too, getting ready to pull out his best card up his sleeve. Raising his hand wrapped in blue flames, the MC summons his impressive ice dragon to freeze the lion once and for all. The hero's flying mount appears majestically in the skies and fires a devastating icy breath straight at the opponent's burning body. The lion tries to fight off the elemental ice attack, but the dragon's freezing force starts putting out the fire covering the boss monster's body. In a matter of seconds, the level 110 beast gets totally frozen into a solid block of ice, taking continuous damage from the extreme cold. Sumubai breaks into a cocky grin, seeing the frozen enemy, and mockingly comments that in the end, the lion wasn't that tough after all. But the monster breaks out of the ice prison with a furious roar, sending frozen shards flying everywhere with its sheer boss strength. The young man realizes the opponent entered a blind rage state that doubles its attack power, finding this new situation pretty interesting. He orders his skeleton king to mount his ghost horse and charge forward at top speed to deliver a fatal strike to the lion. The flame lion tries to counterattack by blasting concentrated fireballs from its roaring mouth, desperate to destroy the approaching warrior. But the heavy sword strike from the Skeleton King cuts right through the attack and hits the monster's chest with full force, dealing massive physical damage. Taking advantage of the beast's rage, the hero commands his archer squads to keep spamming their shots toward the weakened lion. A rain of explosive arrows hits the lion's body square on, drastically dropping the remaining health points on the boss's bar. The massive creature collapses defeated onto the flowery valley ground, and Sumubai coldly remarks that no raw strength can stand up to his undead legion. The game panel drops dozens of life soul stones and gold for the young guy, who celebrates the amazing loot he snagged from the victory. An unfamiliar voice speaks up behind him, praising his speed in the test and deducing with total certainty that the hero holds a secret class. Sumubai turns around and finds his official exam guide, who wears a stylish red hat and welcomes him to the next stage of the tournament. The guide congratulates the kid on passing the academic test and opens a golden portal, inviting the hero to follow him to Shenlong Academy. The hero finds it funny how easily he passed the test and decides to step through the portal, curious to see the skill level of the school's students. They arrive at the majestic courtyard of the Academy Castle, and the kid compliments the spotless architecture while the guide leads him to registration. On the way, an armored student named Kwangshui Chenchen greets him cheerfully and asks what his class special talent is. The kid introduces himself as a level 42 necromancer, leaving his classmates surprised since it's a rare hidden class. The chubby guy reveals he is a blood sacrifice priest, and the guide comments that the hero must have worked really hard to get in with a standard class. They reach the fancy elite dorm building of the academy, and the guide lets the guys know that this will be their new residential area. Both rookies stand in awe at the beauty of the place, happily celebrating that the school's rest quarters are insanely luxurious. But the guide crushes their happiness by pointing in another direction, coldly letting them know their housing is actually nowhere near that building. He points toward a super humble apartment block in the back, explaining that new unranked students can only stay in the basic dorms. Overhearing the conversation, some arrogant senior students start mocking the duo, laughing out loud when they realize the rookies thought they were staying in the luxury building. Two high-level senior mages show up laughing and point at the duo mockingly, calling them dummies with weak, basic game classes. Kwangshui Chenchen turns red with anger and tries to pick a fight, but Sumubai holds him back by the arm, while the guide warns that fighting leads to expulsion. The upperclassmen keep up the taunts, calling the chubby rookie stupid, laughing out loud to try and provoke a violent reaction from the guys. The MC drags his furious friend away from there, asking him to keep cool and promising that at the right time, they'll give those seniors the payback they deserve. Sumubai smiles slyly, thinking to himself that he needs to hide his true power for now, finding the school more and more entertaining. The guide opens the door to the new student's simple room and politely asks the two guys to get some rest after all the traveling. He lets them know that in 1 hour, all freshmen need to assemble at the main plaza, and the hero thanks him for the help settling into the room. At the Merchant Guild headquarters, Wealthy World's allies stand speechless upon learning that their president traveled to the famous Shenlong Academy. The leader tells her squad to stop being jealous and focus on leveling up while she dedicates herself to running the new commercial chamber. At the school's main plaza, a crowd of freshmen gathers around the stage, sharing weird gossip about the principal's true identity. The roommate asks the kid if he's heard about the mysterious principal, and Su-Mu-Bai nods toward the stage, indicating the old man has already arrived. The principal steps onto the stage wearing a general's cloak and takes the mic, giving a formal welcome to all the freshmen who passed the test. He delivers an imposing speech, stating that only the strongest deserve to be there, motivating the students to chase the peak of military power. Showing off his scary eye patch, the principal sternly warns that stepping into the school also marks the start of a cruel and ruthless routine. The old general warns that the school runs on a strict elimination system for those at the bottom of the rankings, requiring everyone to constantly gain strength to survive. 4 glowing portals of different colors open up in the courtyard, and the principal hypedly announces the arrival of the school's 4 major mentors. Su-Mu-Bai and his buddy watch the magic portals open closely, eager to see the living legends leading each department up close. Emerging from the golden portal is the mentor of the nature department, Highstone, a friendly old guy carrying a huge pot on his back. Next, the red portal opens up to reveal the muscular Bai-Hu, the legendary strength department mentor, carrying a giant sword on his back. Stepping out of the blue portal is the stylish Lelouch, the academy's renowned magic department mentor, wearing a spotless light blue suit. Finally, from the purple portal comes mentor Amanda, who leads the death department, wearing dark clothes and a cool eye patch. The principal explains that each mentor represents the peak of absolute power, and students start whispering, debating which path to pick for training. The roommate nudges the MC with a freaked-out look, worriedly warning that the hero is in big trouble if he picks the school of death. He whispers that mentor Amanda is famous for being super sadistic and loves whipping students during daily training sessions. Hearing about the leather whip, Su-Mu-Bai just gives a sly, cocky smile and hypedly remarks that he's already starting to love this school's rules. The mentor warns that choosing the path of death requires accepting the darkness, coldly ordering the new students to enter the purple training portal. But before the MC can take his first step, Amanda suddenly stops him right in his tracks and demands the kid hold on a second. Flashing a creepy red glow in her eyes, she stares right at him and claims he gives off a death aura totally different from normal mages. With absolute shamelessness, the kid scratches his head and lies, saying he's just an average necromancer with no special hidden talent whatsoever. The teacher doubts his answer, sensing his hidden power, while the hero quietly celebrates holding an even bigger surprise for later. The next day, Amanda takes over the classroom and coldly warns that she doesn't do fluff, starting the lesson on controlling summoned beasts. To demonstrate the lesson, she summons a giant magma golem made of living flames right in front of the board, leaving the freshmen awestruck. The teacher explains with crossed arms that any summoned creature's strength is directly linked to the caster's actual power level. She highlights that even though their department has the lowest enrollment in the entire school, the class's destructive power is simply unmatched. One of the buff freshmen raises his hand to ask if they'll get the chance to explore any ancient ruins on the map in upcoming classes. Amanda gives a mysterious smile, noticing the class's shared interest, admitting she figured everyone would be curious about the ruins' mysteries. But right after, she warns that the ruins are a direct ticket to defeat for beginner freshmen, strictly forbidding any field trips there. Gathering a purple energy orb in her palm, the teacher explains that the risk level is extreme because each ruin only spawns a single time. Su-Mu-Bai gets curious and asks if that means dark dungeons disappear from the game map forever right after getting fully cleared. She confirms the theory and grandly adds that the interior territory of a ruin is hundreds of times larger than any ordinary secret dungeon. The mentor explains that to clear and close the location with complete success, it is required to find the divine artifact hidden in the heart of the temple. The students exchange amazed glances upon hearing about the divine artifact, craving the legendary power an item of that rare tier must grant. Amanda confirms the class's suspicions, stating that every ruin in the world holds only one single valuable divine artifact throughout its entire interior. Hyped up, the youngsters start begging the teacher to at least take them to see the entrance of one of those legendary structures from a distance. With a wicked little smirk, she gives in to the students' begging and agrees to take them to the ruin's entrance so they can feel the real vibe of death. The students cheer happily and start stepping through the purple teleport portal, eager to witness the mysterious test site up close. In the middle of the freshman line, Sumubai flashes a confident grin and silently thinks that Shenlong Academy is getting more and more interesting. The group arrives in front of a giant, imposing red gate floating among dark clouds, feeling the chill of the ancient portal's freezing wind. The teacher calms the youngsters down, explaining that the huge structure is just the entrance to a beginner-level ruin scattered across the vast continent. The MC gets curious and asks, looking at the stone seals, when the Great Red Gate actually opens up for adventurers. Amanda answers that the opening is completely random and warns that the portal never stays open for more than 5 minutes at a time on the game map. The hero rests his hand on his chin and thinks carefully about the weird and unpredictable rules governing how those mysterious ruins work. But suddenly, a loud screeching noise echoes from the portal and the huge red doors start vibrating violently, triggering sudden panic all around. Sumubai almost loses his balance from the violent shaking of the ground and frantically asks why the whole surrounding area is swinging like that. The teacher breaks into a cold sweat upon realizing the worst possible scenario is happening, cursing her luck as she watches the ruin open at that exact moment. Tendrils of dark energy and black mist burst out from inside the gate, and Amanda screams desperately for all the freshmen to run as fast as they can. The red smoke tentacles grab the students around the waist with extreme violence, pulling the helpless young freshmen inside the portal. The freshmen scream in panic, begging for help as they get dragged by the overwhelming, unstoppable pull coming from the open gate. Amanda tries using her containment magic to free the students, but watches horrified as all 18 youngsters get swallowed by the darkness. Shaking with fear and rage over the terrible accident, the mentor decides to rush off immediately to report the whole tragedy in person to the school principal. Getting pulled by the dark bindings, Sumubai breaks into a psycho grin, thinking excitedly that the unexpected challenge seems like a blast. In the principal's office, a loud crash echoes as the leader slams his fist onto the wooden desk upon receiving the awful news of the forced raid. The mentors nervously explain that all 18 freshmen were sucked in at once inside the legendary dungeon right after the gate's sudden opening. The blue-haired counselor seriously remarks that even though it's a freshman ruin, the difficulty level of the place is absolute hell for the youngsters. The principal orders the immediate deployment of a search squad with Amanda, warning that if things get worse, he'll personally head in to rescue the students. Sumubai lands face first on the ground and realizes the teleport actually worked, though the landing was anything but smooth. He gets up and quickly notices that the rest of the crew got scattered, which puts him on high alert since this place seems way too dangerous. To avoid risking becoming monster food right off the bat, Sumubai decides to go ahead and summon his skeleton minions to secure his safety. He starts walking and agrees that the place is indeed massive, but finds it weird that he hasn't bumped into any creepy monsters along the way. But his peace doesn't last long, as a bright green beam suddenly grazes past his face at a scary speed. The one behind the attack is a weird, giant level 40 beetle, emerging from the shadows to prove it didn't come to make friends. Sumubai looks at that gross thing with a disgusted face, commenting that the beast manages to be hideous even by monster standards. Realizing it's an elite creature, the young guy wastes no time and commands his skeleton army to attack with full force, showing no mercy. Feeling like that amount of minions is still too low to handle the job, he reaches out his hand and decides to summon even more blue warriors. The skeletons charge in and start beating on the giant insect's shell, creating a total festival of flying sparks and clashing metal sounds. Sumubai watches the brawl and gets surprised to see that the monstrous insect's skin is so hard that physical hits barely leave a scratch on the beast. Seeing that raw power isn't cutting it, he orders his skeletal mages to start blasting the opponent with giant fireballs. The fiery spheres hit the insect's body head-on and spark several explosions, covering the monster in smoke and fire from all sides. To the young guy's surprise, even his strongest magic attacks don't seem to do anything, making him realize there's something seriously off here. The giant beetle loses its temper and lands a crushing blow that smashes one of Su-Mubai's skeletal warriors without breaking a sweat. Seeing his minions get destroyed so fast, he starts wondering what kind of weird, broken creature he is dealing with. Determined to put an end to this nonsense, Su-Mubai activates his special skill to scan every inch of the insect's body for weak spots. A golden glow reveals the monster's vulnerable point, and he cracks an evil smile upon discovering the enemy's weakness is right on its lower body. Knowing exactly where to strike, the young guy orders his archers to focus every shot straight at the armor plate on the insect's belly. The pinpoint arrows fly through the air and pierce the monster's weak spot with precision, making the beast's dark blood gush out for the first time. Its defense crumbles and the beast goes into a crazy rage with boosted power. But Su-Mubai says now he's gonna show what he can really do. Full of confidence in his battle plan, he strikes a pose and summons his strongest creature, shouting for the Skeleton King to appear. The impressive skeletal warrior emerges riding his ghost horse, declaring loud and clear that he is there to obey his master. Swinging his giant sword wrapped in blue flames, the Skeleton King charges relentlessly, telling the opponent to face death head-on. A super powerful beam of blue energy cuts through the air violently, hitting the giant monster dead center with a devastating impact. The blow slashes the beetle in half and wipes it out instantly, making the victory and experience gain pop-up glow on his screen. Su-Mubai collects the loot, thinking that losing just 2 skeletal soldiers was a super cheap price since he can summon as many as he wants. Holding the mysterious glowing shard he just got, he imagines the item must be useful to trade for valuable stuff and decides to pocket it. But his eyes really shine when he looks a bit off to the side and spots a giant golden sword laying on the dungeon floor. Seeing the insane stats on that powerful level 40 weapon, he decides he's gonna send the whole thing to Wealthy World to sell for a high price. With money on the mind, Su-Mubai orders his minions to keep exploring and eliminate anyone who dares stand in their way. Shortly after resuming their trek, another one of those giant insects leaps out from the shadows, trying to jump the group. The young man doesn't even flinch at the surprise appearance and coldly orders the Skeleton King to attack the new opponent without showing a drop of mercy. The undead army performs a relentless coordinated assault and shreds the poor insect in a matter of seconds, giving it zero chance to react. He picks up another ruined shard with a victorious smile on his face, celebrating taking down another monster so easily. Suddenly, a strange sound catches Su-Mubai's attention, and he quickly turns around, realizing someone might be up ahead in the mist. Reaching a desert area, he comes across several bodies lying on the sand and gets surprised to see people have already started perishing there. He inspects the victims' gear and realizes they aren't students from his academy, figuring other adventurers entered the ruin as well. Right then, a group of people comes sprinting desperately toward him, screaming in terror, as they are no match for the monsters in this place. A guy with glasses leads the frantic retreat, yelling at the top of his lungs for everyone to make a run for it because a terrifying beast is right on their tail. The giant elite monster steps out right behind them, kicking up dust, but Su-Mubai just casually walks toward it, saying it's just an insect. Without showing a shred of concern over the incoming danger, he snaps his fingers dismissively and orders his minions to wipe out the monster once and for all. Following the order, the Skeleton King leaps on his horse and unleashes a lethal energy slash that cuts the terrible elite worm in half. The runners stand jaw-dropped at how easy the kill was, talking about how strong summoners are, but one of them corrects it, saying only this guy is strong. Their relief is short-lived, as another person in the group screams in panic right after, noticing another giant threat closing in. A massive monstrous shadow appears through the sandstorm, and the adventurers go into full panic, running and shouting for everyone to get out of there. But Su-Mubai stays put in the same spot with a confident smile, summoning destructive bursts of fire that drop from the sky like an actual meteor. The adventurers look back and almost fall backward in shock, seeing giant flaming skeletal mages appearing right behind the mysterious young guy. They stand stunned at the crazy power of those summons and try to guess his identity, but decide the best move is to get the heck out of there ASAP. However, the girl in the group suddenly freezes with open arms in shock, stopping the escape as she spots something even more unbelievable straight ahead. Mentor Amanda runs to inform Principal Situ Ji that they finally managed to discover the true cause behind the whole incident. She reveals that the sudden gate opening was the work of the Black Kill Group, the same mysterious organization that acted a few months ago. The principal gets furious hearing the name of the traitors to humanity, cursing those criminals for putting the students' lives in danger. With that, he commands an immediate investigation into the Black Kill Group and orders a rescue squad prepared to save the freshmen. Meanwhile, Sumubai walks through a dark swamp and gives thanks for running fast, avoiding becoming a snack for giant insects. The young man looks at the colossal trees around him and comments to himself that this whole swamp vibe seems pretty sketchy. Suddenly, a bizarre noise catches Sumubai's attention, and he locks his gaze on a gross creature squirming in the dark water. It turns out to be a level 10 swamp worm, popping up in front of him displaying super low stats and zero real threat. The MC makes a disgusted face at the weak little monster and orders his army to destroy that gross thing as fast as possible. The skeletal minions launch a devastating magic attack, causing a massive explosion that consumes the entire monster in the blink of an eye. Sumubai grins ear to ear over the easy win, celebrating getting experience points and another ruin shard basically for free. He knows taking out these little worms can draw out their mother, but gets cut off as he senses a presence and demands whoever is hidden to step out. From the shadows steps an elf warrior in a blue cloak named Black Robe, revealing himself to be a death swordsman, giving off a super dark aura. Sumubai notices right off the bat that the man doesn't belong to the academy and asks straight up how he managed to break into that sacred temple. The elf gives a sarcastic smirk and replies that the ruin has several different entrances, making his intrusion a total walk in the park. Curious about his presence, the hero asks what the intruder's true goal is, since he clearly isn't there to hunt monsters. The swordsman confirms the hunch, letting him know that his actual mission inside that dungeon is simply to eliminate the academy students. Giving no time to react, the villain rushes forward at high speed with blade raised, shouting that he's going to end the kid's life right now. The enemy swings a powerful dark purple energy slash toward the MC, who watches the attack draw close without showing any panic. At the last second, one of the skeletal warriors jumps in front and blocks the dark strike, protecting his master with his own body. But Sumubai stands shocked, seeing the enemy was able to destroy his minion with a single, crazy strong sword strike. The elf swordsman sneers upon realizing he's facing a necromancer, commenting that the fight just got way more fun. The young man sets up a defensive formation with his minions and tries to calm things down, suggesting they have no reason to fight like that. The villain agrees they don't know each other, but asks if the kid has never heard of the infamous criminal organization known as Black Kill. In all honesty, the hero answers that he's never heard of that group because he doesn't waste time keeping up with the news. The elf warrior finds the answer funny and leaps into the attack again, yelling that the young necromancer will have to end up confused either way. Right then, Sumubai summons his powerful skeleton king, who steps up grandly to stop the villain's advance, swearing nobody will lay a finger on his master. The hero takes the chance to taunt the enemy, saying that traitors to humanity are cowards hiding in ruins to jump people. The legendary warrior faces the elf head-on, warning that he will make him deeply regret pissing off the army of death. The elf swordsman ignores the warning with a look of pure rage, completely focused on taking out the opponent with his next move. He charges forward, unleashing a massive dark slash through the air, stating that taking out the kid is as easy as stepping on a helpless ant. However, the Skeleton King raises his huge spirit shield and blocks the attack with total ease, creating a heavy impact of blue light. The villain stands stunned, seeing his hit brushed off so easily, yelling that it's impossible for the kid's summons to be this powerful. Suddenly, Sumubai gets hit and drops to his knees, coughing blood, feeling the heavy blow from the attack that seemed to have been blocked earlier. The elf appears smiling with a creepy look, revealing he possesses the power of resurrection, allowing him to sneak attack without being detected. He drives his sharp blade straight into the hero's chest, coldly stating that the kid can finally go out and rest in peace. But the young necromancer's face stays calm in the dark, and he whispers back that he also forgot to mention a little detail about himself. Sumubai reveals he has the life share skill and starts laughing out loud, since the damage is split with his minions and he can't be taken down. The assassin goes into total panic seeing the kid's wound heal instantly, backing away horrified, screaming that it's impossible. The hero activates his powerful gaze of death, warning that he has plenty of terrible ways to finish off the villain for daring to force this fight. Giving zero escape chance to the scared traitor, the young necromancer coldly orders the Skeleton King to finish the job once and for all. The skeletal warrior obeys immediately and takes down the enemy, netting the hero a mountain of experience and 17 ruin shards. Far away, the assistant rushes into Principal Situji's office to report that an elite member of the criminal group was taken out in the ruin. Amanda stands shocked since their squad hasn't even set foot inside the place, making the principal suspect there's a powerful warrior helping in secret. Concerned for the fate of the young freshman, Principal Situji asks right away about the current prep status of the rescue squad. The teacher answers with determination that the troops have finished gathering and are ready to head out on the mission at any moment. The leader explains that to force open the ruin gate, she'll need to help him activate a super powerful magic circle. Amanda warns that activation will overload the principal's body and cause serious damage, but he insists he'll do whatever it takes to save the students. As they prepare, the old principal stares at the wall, quietly hoping the freshman can hold out just a little longer. In front of the great portal, the teacher takes charge and orders the soldiers to quickly enter the ruin to bring the kids back safe and sound. Principal Situji joins forces with the school mentors to channel energy and begin the activation process for the powerful teleport array. With a deafening boom, the transport portal activates, and the leader shouts for the rescue squad to advance into the ruin right away. Led by mentor Amanda, the search squad warriors charge forward without hesitation toward the dimensional rift to rescue the students. Giant pillars of golden light shoot through the sky as the principal burns through his vital energy to keep the dimensional portal open and stable. Situji ends up collapsing from exhaustion and coughs blood, but calms everyone down, telling them to prepare to activate the formation again in 4 hours. Deep in the dark swamp, Sumubai walks casually with his minions, wondering why there are only weak-tier monsters around there. He recalls the elf swordsman's warning about killing those small insects drawing out their mother, but comments that he hasn't seen any sign of her yet. But no sooner did the guy open his mouth than a scary, colossal shadow suddenly appeared, blocking out the sky and plunging the whole forest into darkness. It's the terrifying level 56 swamp worm mother, showing up with sharp claws and razor teeth, packed with terrifying stats. Sumubai gets startled seeing the giant beast pop out of nowhere, complaining that the monster gave no prep time and is an elite boss on top of that. The gross creature opens its huge mouth full of sharp teeth and starts charging powerful destructive energy to unleash a deafening roar. The sonic shockwave sweeps through the whole area with extreme violence, turning the hero's regular skeletal minions to dust in the blink of an eye. The young man has to cover his ears to avoid going deaf, admitting the monster's attack is insane for having obliterated all his common warriors. With no time to grieve the loss of his soldiers, Sumubai points at the beast and orders the massive Skeleton King forward to hold down the monster. The powerful Death Knight charges on his mount and delivers a massive frontal slash, kicking off an even duel against the giant beast. To regain the upper hand in the swamp, the MC decides to pull out his famous skeleton ocean tactic to bury the boss under sheer numbers. But the monster spins its body in a devastating tail sweep, wiping out hundreds of skeletal warriors with total ease in the process. Realizing the fight calls for more serious moves, Sumubai decides to use his full power and summons the legendary ice dragon to freeze the opponent. A freezing blizzard descends on the swamp, and giant ice blocks crash down from the sky, hitting the worm mother with insane freezing power. The ice strike hits the target dead on, blanketing the giant creature in an explosion of dark energy, leaving the boss completely crippled. The young guy is impressed to notice the monster still shows enough smarts to try and attack him directly, even after taking so much damage. With danger closing in fast, he decides to get the heck out of there without thinking twice, leaving his minions behind to stall the creature. The hero runs away laughing at the situation, commenting that he has an infinite army of undead to cover his retreat, making it impossible for the monster to catch him. Right after, he tweaks his famous corpse explosion skill and orders the fallen bodies of his minions to detonate near the creature. A terrifying chain explosion completely consumes the worm mother, creating a massive pillar of fire that shakes the entire swampy ground. To make sure the job is done right, Sumubai has his ice dragon blast the fallen monster until the creature can no longer move. Seeing the big elite boss smoking and about to collapse, the young man cracks a sadistic grin, noticing the opponent won't last any longer. The hero cheers happily as he gets the level-up notification and the 5 ruin shards he won as a reward for beating the boss. To make the MC's day even better, the monster drops an epic death staff that boosts his summon's stats by 30%. Sumubai stands amazed at the weapon custom-made for him and decides to use his ascension talent to evolve the item by consuming his lifespan. The Calamity upgrade wraps up with total success, transforming the staff into the legendary Scepter of the Dead, which can now revive defeated monsters. Looking at the legendary weapon's powerful new skill, he smiles satisfied, noting that all the effort to beat the monster was totally worth it. Without wasting time, Sumubai points his new golden scepter toward the monster's corpse and orders the big elite boss to become his new minion. The worm mother rises from the dead with glowing blue eyes, and the hero celebrates having a summon way scarier than his regular skeletons. With his weird new combat toy leading the march, the young guy continues his exploration through the swampy depths of the divine dungeon. Reaching the desert dunes region, he decides to unsummon his giant creatures and gets surprised to notice a few silhouettes running off in the distance. The hero fake mourns the huge pile of bodies laying on the desert sand, sarcastically commenting on the terrible tragedy of the place. But he quickly recognizes the group of freshmen he ran into earlier, who are now cornered by a massive swarm of giant black scorpions. Sumubai walks up grandly toward the fight, joking about the situation, remarking that those kids' lucky day had finally arrived. The young man waves his hand, ordering the Skeleton King to charge in on his ghost mount to save those scared freshmen' lives. The Skeleton King advances relentlessly into battle against the scary giant Scorpion King of level 48, leading the enemy horde. Delivering quick, devastating slashes, the Death Knight pulverizes the surrounding monsters, making the guy with glasses shout in joy over the rescue. The youngsters recognize the hero instantly and celebrate with shouts of relief upon seeing that the powerful necromancer from earlier came back to save them. Sumubai orders the group to look for a safe hiding spot while he personally handles the terrible venomous scorpion leading the assault. To open the fight with overwhelming force, the young guy commands his skeletal mages to blast the creature's body with magical fire bursts. However, the flames hit the monster, and the word immune pops up repeatedly on the screen, revealing the boss has total immunity against spells. The hero stands surprised at the reveal, asking himself annoyed if every monster in this divine ruin has this magic immunity nonsense. But he quickly gets his composure back and pulls out his newly acquired Scepter of the Dead, mockingly commenting that he'll have to show the boss a new trick. Pointing the legendary weapon toward the desert sky, he summons the giant undead worm mother to terrorize every monster present at the site. The freshmen almost fall backward in panic seeing the colossal beast pop up under Sumubai's command, commenting that the guy's power defies divine laws. The giant undead worm mother corners the Scorpion King with bared teeth, while Sumubai celebrates, saying the enemy won't last another second. Showing zero mercy, the colossal creature bites the giant scorpion in half with extreme violence, destroying the boss in one go. The hero celebrates as he sees the level-up notice glow again, receiving 4 more valuable ruin shards for the boss kill. Sumubai picks up the dropped items, calling it all trade junk, saying he'll send everything for Wealthy World to sell while the freshmen thank him. He accepts the thanks, but asks why they always go to dangerous places, hearing that the squad followed rumors about a divine artifact. The students reveal they got jumped by the scorpion swarm right after arriving, and the MC asks if that legendary artifact is around there. The freshmen beg to tag along with Sumubai to feel safer, while the young man agrees to hunt down the artifact so he can get out of there ASAP. Looking over a sand dune, the young guy runs into a crazy amount of terrifying monsters spread all across the desert zone. He analyzes the swarm and realizes with concern that most of those creatures are boss level, making the whole crossing pretty tough. Suddenly, one of the freshmen points hype, spotting the senior warrior Yasuo fighting against the horde, and asks if he came to save them. The fearless masked senior leaps through the air, wielding his colossal warhammer with total drive to crush the desert beasts. With a thunderous impact that sends sand flying everywhere, he lands a crushing blow straight on the ground to pulverize the monsters. Yasuo firmly orders the freshmen to rescue the wounded and fall back quickly from the sight, while he holds off the giant insect's push alone. The senior leaps again toward a giant dark centipede, yelling furiously that he's gonna send the gross insect straight to hell. An explosion of dust and debris covers the whole fight area after the hammer's devastating blow smashes the insect's body against the sandy ground. Watching it all from afar, Sumubai praises the warrior's strength and decides to use the distraction to clear the area and grab the legendary artifact solo. The young guy leaps off a sand dune toward the fight, shouting to the senior that he's coming in to give a hand with wiping out the monsters. Yasuo notices the approach and shouts, annoyed for the kid to fall back immediately with the other freshmen, warning the fight is way too dangerous for him. However, the giant centipede crawls back, proving to be pretty tough, while the senior warrior notices the beast is calling for backup. Ticked off by the monster's persistence, Yasuo unleashes a red aura of crazy rage, swearing he'll teach that beast a super painful lesson. Sumubai recognizes the aura and realizes the senior belongs to the rare Berserker warrior class, one of the top 3 specializations in the game. Completely taken over by rage, the masked warrior rushes at high speed with hammer in hand, daring the gross insect to face him. The senior delivers an explosive hit of pure blood energy against the opponent, generating a destructive shockwave that shakes the entire dune. Sumubai thinks about how that technique uses up the caster's health to multiply damage, concluding the senior will be bedridden for at least a month. He decides to wait for the right moment to step into the main fight, ordering his skeletal minions to stick to clearing out the smaller insects. While his minions take out an elite armored beetle and yield experience, he thinks that the best plan right now is to keep his true power hidden. Yasuo finally manages to wipe out the enemies on that dune and collapses exhausted on the bloody sand, remarking that the area should be safe for now. Half an hour passes, and the senior walks with difficulty toward a hollow thorn tree, commenting that pushing any further would be an unpredictable risk. Sumubai watches his ally from a distance and easily notices that all of the masked warrior's vital blood energy is practically drained. Suddenly, firm, high-heeled footsteps echo on the sand, and a mysterious female figure pops up calling Yasuo's name in a mockingly tone. It's the sleek and dangerous Hua Wu accompanied by her bodyguards, cracking a sarcastic smile, saying it's been a long time since they last saw each other. Yasuo stands in total shock at the appearance and asks, annoyed, what the infamous Black Kill criminal group came looking for in those sacred ruins. The villain walks casually toward him with open arms, cynically asking the warrior not to be so harsh with his words toward her. She explains with complete coldness that her goal there is simply to steal the divine artifact, politely asking the senior to hand over the item without a fight. Hua Wu taunts his weakened state, saying his blood energy is spent, and points out that the surviving freshmen are no threat to her. Showing a look of pure malice and mockery, the blue-haired woman states without any hesitation that she's taking the artifact either way. Wasting no time on talk, she orders her servants to quickly raid the insect queen's nest to steal the sacred shrine relic. Sumubai runs right behind them through the shadows, ignoring Yasuo's warning shouts, set on not letting Black Kill keep the ruined treasure. The villain's henchwomen draw close to the dark cave entrance, which is guarded up close by two giant, scary, armored shrine creatures. Hua Wu points at the monstrous guards, ordering her elite assassins to wrap up that battle at the entrance as fast as possible. The servants attack with super-fast and precise sword moves, slicing up the monsters at the cave entrance without showing any struggle. Watching it all from afar, hidden in the shadows, Su Mubai gulps hard, admitting surprise that those assassins' combat power is pretty scary. Inside the dark nest, a weird purple-skinned humanoid spider queen pets her massive cocoons filled with babies about to hatch. The spider queen smiles lovingly at the eggs, whispering that very soon her beloved babies will finally be able to hatch and walk the world. Small spiders crawl all over the cave's webbed wall, guarding the sanctuary where the shrine's sacred relic is hidden. But the nest's peace gets shattered when a throwing dagger fired by the invaders cuts through the air at high speed toward one of the hatchlings. The Spider Queen blocks the attack at the last second, screaming in rage that she won't allow any miserable human to hurt her children. Hua Wu steps grandly into the cave, pointing her dagger at the monster, straight up demanding the creature hand over the ruin's divine relic right away. The blue-haired villain threatens with a sadistic look that if the queen doesn't cooperate, she'll burn the whole nest down with a fire that leaves nothing behind. The purple spider queen lets out a furious screech of hatred, promising to wipe out all human invaders and turn their bodies into food for her babies. The spider queen gives strict orders for all her servants to burst out of their cocoons and launch a merciless slaughter against the human invaders. Out of the cocoons pops the terrifying level 50 elite pincer insect, boasting absurd attack and defense stats to guard the sacred nest. Hua Wu orders her servants to handle the smaller insects, while she personally pushes toward the Spider Queen to take down the nest leader. The blue-haired villain charges with impressive speed and starts a fierce clash of strikes against the queen, proving she's got plenty of skill. While the wild fight goes down in the middle of the cave, Su Mubai walks slowly through the shadows, making the most of nobody noticing his presence there. Watching the epic duel, the hero mockingly comments that the fight is still way too tame, deciding he'll give a little help to make everything way more chaotic. With a cheeky grin on his face, he summons his dark skeletal archers and coldly orders them to focus on destroying all the eggs. Flaming arrows fly toward the cave ceiling and land square on the cocoons filled with babies, starting a total festival of explosions. Massive fiery blasts wipe out all the nests in one go, turning the Spider Queen's precious offspring into ashes in a matter of seconds. Seeing the total destruction of her beloved cocoons, the purple Spider Queen goes into an absolute frenzy of rage, screeching out demanding the death of those humans. Consumed by blind rage, the creature unleashes all her dark energy, insane-like swearing she'll annihilate everyone present in that cave. Hua Wu panics, realizing the boss entered rage mode, cursing the hero for popping out of nowhere to ruin all her plans. The Spider Queen hits level 100 and gains unbelievable stats in her enraged form, screaming in a terrifying voice that she'll crush everyone. With a single swing of her dark claw, the monster slams Hua Wu against the stone wall with overwhelming force that breaks her defense. Displaying a demonic face of pure rage and sharp teeth, the queen pushes forward with everything, repeating her oath to crush the arrogant invaders. The colossal creature lunges toward the villain's freaked-out bodyguards, ensuring they'll serve as the perfect feast to feed the nest. Hua Wu can barely recover from the heavy impact, her eyes going wide as she notices the young necromancer standing right in front of her in the shadows. The blue-haired villain glares at the guy with hatred, asking where on earth that brat came from, demanding to know his real motives there. She notices his stats and asks, scared, how the kid can stand tall having only 1 health left, while he answers he came to grab the relic. Ticked off by the kid's nerve, Hua Wu orders her servants to focus their attacks and kill the nosy youngster before dealing with the Spider Queen. But the powerful Skeleton King warriors block the enemy group's advance right away, making sure with their swords that nobody touches their master. The Black Kill Group's henchwomen stand in complete shock, witnessing the absurd strength of the creatures a simple freshman kid was able to summon. In the middle of the chaos, Hua Wu uses all her incredible speed to launch a surprise attack with her glowing blade straight toward the hero. She manages to strike Sumubai's chest with full force, celebrating that even as a high-level necromancer, he's going down right this instant. The villain lands with style, bragging that no one has ever managed to steal a divine relic from her hands, while the MC spits blood onto the ground. Suddenly, the enraged Spider Queen starts devouring her own wounded servants in the cave, leaving the invaders panicking over her power boost. Hua Wu notices the weirdness happening and screams in despair for her crew to take out the creature fast before the situation gets even worse. But the servant alerts that the monster has already evolved into the Supreme King tier after the weird feast, begging for everyone to run as fast as possible. The Spider Queen reaches her final colossal form of pure hatred, covering herself in a terrifying red aura that makes the whole nest structure shake. The beast attacks the invaders with insane speed and lands a crushing blow on Hua Wu, screaming that she's going to rip the villain's body to shreds. The criminal leader refuses to back down, cursing the blasted monster, prepping her final strike with the glowing dagger to try and survive the carnage. Hua Wu shouts with drive that she'll fight to the end and leaps toward the Spider Queen's mouth in a desperate attempt to kill the boss. She manages to drive her dagger into the monster's head, but the creature simply ignores the wound's pain and counterattacks with her sharp jaws. The Spider Queen grabs the villain in midair with her sharp claws and starts crushing her effortlessly, laughing that she'll turn her into pieces. With extreme violence, the beast takes out Hua Wu once and for all, proudly declaring that all invaders will serve as food for her babies. After the villain's end, Sumubai calmly stands up, dusting himself off, commenting with a smile that the time has finally come for him to step into the fight. The hero strikes a pose, pointing at the weakened Spider Queen, authoritatively ordering his whole skeletal army to charge the boss with everything. Hundreds of flaming arrows and destructive spells cut through the dark cave air, dropping on the giant monster like a real meteor shower. Monumental fire blasts hit the elite boss's body repeatedly, creating a thick smoke cloud and shaking the nest's stone structure. Taking advantage of the opening, the powerful Skeleton King pushes forward with his glowing sword, delivering a devastating blow that slices through the elite boss's defenses. Sumubai watches the slaughter, pleased with the outcome, letting them know with an evil grin that the funnest and scariest part of the plan is about to start now. He points at the boss's carcass, ordering his skeletal troops to push in mass to surround the creature without giving any escape chance. The young man activates his famous corpse explosion skill, using the monster's fallen bodies to trigger a massive blast that shakes the nest. The queen screeches in agony in the middle of the fire, but Sumubai asks her not to rush because an even scarier surprise is about to show up. The hero summons his powerful undead worm mother, coldly ordering his giant minion to deliver the final strike to finish off the Spider Queen. He takes advantage of the two giants drawing close to trigger the corpse explosion once more, generating a colossal blast that consumes the boss entirely. Outside the temple, Senior Yasuo hears the massive booms coming from the nest, asking himself freaked out if the sacred relic ended up blowing up. The surviving freshmen panic over the violent shaking of the ground, begging the senior to run away fast before the whole cave collapses on them. Inside the cave, Sumubai cheers happily upon seeing the system screen confirm the victory against the supreme boss, leveling up and earning 10 shards. Floating right before his eyes, the hero spots a massive glowing green crystal, marveling and asking himself if that gem is indeed the divine artifact. Sumubai holds the glowing spirit collection crystal and gets pretty intrigued, wondering what the actual use of that divine relic might be. Suddenly, a system alert warns that the ruins will close in 60 seconds, starting a countdown to kick everyone out of there. The surviving students celebrate in relief upon realizing they will finally be able to leave that scary place safe and sound. Senior Yasuo decides not to worry about the lost students for now, ordering his whole squad to focus solely on getting out of there fast. As he walks toward the exit, Sumubai thinks back on all the effort he put in to beat the Spider Queen, deciding he won't let her body go to waste. The huge red portal starts glowing intensely with magic energy, getting ready to kick all survivors back to the real world. Outside, Mentor Amanda and Principal C2G watch the gate close, figuring someone must have finally obtained the divine relic. In several beams of bright golden light, the surviving students get forcefully teleported out of the ruin, popping up in the academy courtyard. The young freshmen fall to the ground, crying and screaming in fear, reporting the losses of their comrades and begging for urgent medical care. Facing the total panic, Principal C2G stays calm, ordering the guards to count the survivors and take all the wounded to the medical wing. Amanda directs the freaked-out freshman to go get some rest, starting to ask the others if anyone saw who was responsible for taking down the boss. One of the students with glasses points out that he saw Sumubai entering the monster's nest, recalling that a huge explosion happened right after in the cave. With all curious eyes turning his way all of a sudden, the young necromancer realizes he's going to have to cook up a good excuse real quick. Mentor Amanda walks up to Sumubai with a serious look, asking directly if the kid knows what went down in the Spider Queen's lair. Scratching his head, acting clueless, the young guy lies through his teeth, saying he saw the Black Kill organization members taking down the Spider Queen. Senior Yasuo pops up right behind and backs up the lie, reporting that the villain Hua Wu and her henchwomen really did raid the lair to steal the item. Hearing the report, Amanda worries about the spike in Black Kill activities, while the hero quietly celebrates that nobody suspects him. Satisfied with the explanations, the teacher orders the young guy back to his quarters to get some rest after all the battles he faced. As the young man walks away, Principal C2G remarks to Amanda that the young necromancer's aura is way too weird to belong to a regular student. The old leader observes the mysterious blue flames around Sumubai, concluding he is definitely not just any random necromancer from the school. Already relaxing in his room at the academy, the MC inspects all the rewards he got, planning how he'll use the new gear. Suddenly, his ally Wealthy World reaches out via holographic call, excitedly letting him know that word about his achievements is spreading. He explains he's still at the academy and asks her to sell the items he'll send by mail, which the merchant accepts with zero issues. Sumubai locks his eyes on the mysterious green crystal, realizing he'll need to find a trusted expert to appraise that relic. The next day in the classroom, Mentor Amanda speaks with regret about the many students who were hurt or lost their lives in the divine ruin. She explains the academy will make a few security changes and orders all students to study the department's official summoning guide. But before wrapping up the subject, Amanda points at the hero, asking straight up for the student to follow her to her private office. Walking through the quiet school hallways, the young guy gets pretty curious, asking what the mentor would like to talk about with him in private. Amanda stops in front and glares at him with suspicion, asking once more if he really saw the Black Kill criminal organization fight the boss. The kid confirms the story without blinking, and she asks if he happened to see the appearance of the powerful divine artifact that was stolen from the temple. With total shamelessness, the hero replies that the item looked like a glowing crystal, and the mentor nods, saying she understood the situation. She then changes the subject, revealing that the Academy Board decided to select the young guy to take part in a special test class at the school. The young man gets pretty intrigued by the unexpected invite, asking what exactly this special test class she mentioned is supposed to be. Standing in front of a colossal tower, Amanda explains that the location holds challenges on the upper floors that grant valuable points, and that he was the only one chosen. Sumubai stands surprised hearing about the rules, asking why he was the only student selected out of the whole department for the challenge. The teacher explains that his participation in the test tower was a personal recommendation and special approval coming from the principal himself. She assures that the leader has his reasons for the choice, ordering the young guy to get ready to report immediately to the main tower entrance. Arriving at the entrance of the impressive test tower, the young guy's jaw drops at the colossal structure of the place, gasping in surprise at the beauty. He starts walking toward the door, sensing a heavy magic energy in the air, deducing there are super high-level monsters trapped inside there. In the entrance lobby, a group of senior students with unfriendly faces spots him, asking straight up if he's the rookie Sumubai. Showing all his charm and manners, the young necromancer introduces himself in a friendly way to the seniors, confirming his identity. The long-haired elf makes a bored face, asking them to get on with it already, pointing out that the MC was the only one left to arrive there. The seniors chat among themselves, saying they've never seen the kid's face before, concluding this must be his first time taking part in the challenge. A friendly old instructor wearing a cap asks for all present students' attention, letting them know he'll explain the test tower rules. He details that the tower has 18 floors packed with challenges, explaining that the score increases gradually as they push through the rooms. Sumubai asks what the highest floor reached by current students was, hearing that no one has made it past the 9th floor in over 10 years at the academy. The examiner points to the hall corner, letting them know the leaderboard with the updated ranking of top students is open for anyone to check out. On the ranking board, the rookies watch surprised as Senior Yasuo leads the standings list for having cleared the 6th floor in record time. The instructor adds that there are still lists for mid and advanced tiers, leaving the young necromancer super hyped to start the test.